Your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-656-1551. That's 800-656-1551. 800-656-1551.
When was the last time you watched your home movies?
Disasters strike unexpectedly. Every year, American families lose the one thing they'd run back into a burning building for, their family's memories. Hi, I'm Nick.
And I'm Adam. We started Legacy Box to help save your family's most important recorded moments so you don't have to worry.
Load Legacy Box with your old movies, film reels, and shoeboxes of photos.
We work our digitizing magic, converting those memories right to the cloud so they're safe and accessible forever.
It's fast, we always send your originals back, and it's done right here in the USA.
Over 1 million families have trusted Legacy Box. Better Homes and Garden, Real Simple, and Inc. magazine are all talking about Legacy Box.
New York Times columnist David Pogue says, have them digitized. I wish I'd done it sooner. Take action. Save your family's memories today with Legacy Box.
Go to legacybox.com/value to get an incredible 50% off your Legacy Box. That's legacybox.com/value for 50% off while supplies last. legacybox.com/value.
Philadelphia's Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. It's Dom time. Now, Dom Giordano.
It is Dom time, and I guess the word coming out of last night, how many times was this guy's name said? Langford, the Republican who gave them cover. He's a conservative from Oklahoma. That's the guy with the dumb bipartisan border bill that we heard so much about. And even with that, Walz could not move away from what Vance was doing masterfully last night. I know the obvious highlight of the debate is the mic check, turning off the mic. We have to move on. We're always moving on. How many times have we talked about these debates? There are really 3 or 4 things the American people want to hear about. You know, I saw, we didn't talk about China. We didn't talk about Ukraine. Yeah, they're all important. Of course, we have to talk about climate. We have to go down the healthcare thing again. And by happenstance, we have to end with January 6th. You knew that's where it was going to go. How about spending more time when we really started to go back and forth on inflation and the border? How about saying we're going to spend 20 minutes on each one of those at least? That's how you get at something. That's how you see a Tim Walz fold even more. I thought the highlight last night, O'Reilly, I was watching the post coverage, said he thought that Vance humanized himself. Now, we could say he could have obliterated Walz more. I agree, but that's not what he was after. He did humanize himself despite all the attacks that are out there. He made several points. He focused on Harris, not on Walz. And the thing where the fact checkers, without saying they were checking facts, they said it is just a fact that's incontrovertible, prattling on about, well, those Haitians are legal, as if J.D. Vance doesn't know that. We'll play that for you. But they didn't want to fact check the contention that went back and forth on abortion. And it shows you the bias and the uphill battle. I think J.D. Vance did a great job of saying, I understand people don't trust Republicans on this issue. We have to do better. Patted his heart several times, talked about someone who gave him her story and an abusive relationship and how he felt about that. Talked about his changes in this masterfully. Other Republicans should be doing the same thing. But then he made the point that in Minnesota, however you slice it, the bottom line is the option is there for the doctors and the alleged parents, if the baby survives that abortion, to allow it to die, not to come to its rescue. I wonder how they do that. Do they place it somewhere so they can't hear anything? And the data that we're always talking about shows that 8 babies expired in that manner. Scott Jennings on CNN made a lot of that point. Wouldn't it be good, with all that back and forth that went on for a good bit on abortion, to hear a fact check there? There's got to be somebody who electronically would tell them, yes, that's what the law is in Minnesota. But they don't want to do that because on the abortion issue, it's just there to take Republicans out of the game. And when Republicans try to make a point in the manner that Vance did, how extreme a guy like Walz and Harris are, they're not allowed to do that. They're dismissed. There's no fact check. There's no reading of the law. There's no data. There's no nothing. If there was any equity, that would have been the point to do that. So, in the grand scheme of things, what does this matter? Well, it matters in a couple of different ways, I think. One, it makes Vance much more of a human figure as he moves forward, takes away all the nonsense they were doing with them. It diminishes Walz. And I'll make the point again and again and again. This would have been a heck of a fight last night if you had in one corner J.D. Vance and in the other corner Josh Shapiro. That would have been an hellacious battle. But you didn't have Shapiro, A, because of the anti-Israel, anti-Semitism of the Democrat Party, and B, because Harris would be upstaged by Shapiro. It's obvious. So I want to do two things with that. One, thank God he's not in there because it ups our chances to win Pennsylvania. But two, it underlines what this party's all about. What's remarkable about Walz? Walz, remember, was being touted with the camo hat and eating all the food and the football coach as somebody who was going to stoke the fires of rural Democrats, particularly men. Did Walz look like he could do that last night? No, not even a little bit. And J.D. Vance, while not being necessarily given all the media baggage about him, the ideal candidate for females, I think by any fair estimation, held his own last night with women voters that might have said, you know, I thought this guy was completely out there, and he's not that bad. I'm not saying they're going to give endorsement or whatever. It also raises the question, and I'm getting killed on Twitter at DomShow1210. Should President Trump agree to another debate on Fox? Bill O'Reilly will be here in about 10 minutes, and I'll ask him that. I think he's talked to Trump extensively around this. In other words, a closing argument. Saddens me on Twitter, the number of people that go, no, I don't think Trump could do that. Now, Vance is very accomplished, but didn't he show last night how you can handle the fact-checking? He didn't go over the top after them. He could have gone even more after them and gone to the first debate, but I think he handled it beautifully. In fact, here's how it sounded. Here is the contention when Vance says, yeah, the Haitians are here legally, but you have to factor in that's with a stroke of the pen by Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. Is that really legal? Is that really following the process of citizenship? This is cut 6.
Governor, and just to clarify for our viewers, Springfield, Ohio does have a large number of Haitian migrants who have legal status, temporary protected status.
Well, Margaret, but
thank you, Senator. We have so much to get to.
Margaret, I think it's important because
we're going to turn out of the economy. Thank you,
Margaret. The rules were that you guys weren't going to fact check, and since you're fact checking me, I think it's important to say what's actually going on. So there's an application called the CBP One app, where you can go on as an illegal migrant, apply for asylum or apply for parole, and be granted legal status at the wave of a Kamala Harris open border wand. That is not a person coming in, applying for a green card and waiting for 10 years. That is the facilitation of illegal immigration, Margaret, by our own leadership.
Thank you, Senator, for describing the legal process. We have so much to get to, Senator.
Those laws have been on the books since 1990.
Thank you, John. We want to
CBP app has not been on the books since 1990. It's something that Kamala Harris created, Margaret.
Gentlemen, the audience can't hear you because your mics are cut. We have so much we want to get to. Thank you for explaining the legal process. Nora.
Thank you.
That was called mansplaining, of course, on MSNBC. They went on for a half hour about that. It's always, we have so much to get to. No, you don't. Not the things that people really care about. As a moderator, when you get to the point where there's a point of contention of something major like this, you have to let it breathe. You have to let both people go back and forth. If you're going to interject with a fact check, you can't say we have to move on. How many times do we go through this? There's not enough time. Then do longer debates. You got to cut down the subjects. You can't be talking about all kinds of things related to damage control and things of that nature. All right, Bill O'Reilly is in the on-deck circle. It's 855-839-1210. AT&T and Verizon Wireless. All you have to do is just push pound 1210. I'll give you the side question today after O'Reilly, but jump on board right now with Dom on Talk Radio 1210.
We don't care who you vote for in the upcoming election. You know why? Because this is not a political ad. Jim Cipriotti and the Retire Ready Financial Group meet with people every day wondering if they should be doing something different with their money because it's an election year. At Retire Ready Financial Group, we want you to know where your money is, how it's performing, and if the market does go down, how does it affect your retirement? We call it a portfolio snapshot, and we do it at no charge. Our goal is for you to have confidence as you enter retirement, confidence to spend, and confidence that you won't run out of money. Let's vote those election worries right out of your retirement. For your complimentary portfolio snapshot, call 610-894-7415. That's 610-894-7415, or go to retirereadyfg.com. Investment advisory services offered through Retire Ready Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through James B. Cipriotti, Retire Ready Financial Group, LLC. NPN number 2083768.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
About 30 Philly high school students are back home after getting stranded on a camping trip to North Carolina because of the hurricane. Philly police say they'll try to combat illegal car meetups by using drones to catch suspects. And the SS United States on the Delaware could soon be sunk off the Florida Gulf Coast.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by calling 844-300-LEAF to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water, and it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty, so you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Call Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate and to save up to 30%. Dial 844-300-LEAF. That's 844-300-LEAF.
The following is a paid commercial message.
Bob Casey supported radical sanctuary city policies, and Casey said,
I want to be held accountable if something doesn't work out well.
Casey's sanctuary city policies haven't worked out well. They release dangerous illegal immigrants onto our streets. In fact, Casey's sanctuary city policies released one illegal immigrant felon in Philadelphia who then raped a 5-year-old Pennsylvania girl. Casey made us all less safe. Casey not only supports these crazy policies that put convicted felons back on our streets, he'd make things even worse. Casey voted to give illegals with violent criminal records amnesty. Casey supported amnesty even for illegals convicted of domestic violence and child abuse. Rewarding illegals convicted of domestic violence and child abuse? It's insane.
I want to be held accountable.
It's time to hold Casey accountable. It's time for a change. It's time to fire Bob Casey. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. SenateLeadershipFund.org.
Is thinning hair or a receding hairline making
making you self-conscious? Try Hair Grow from New Nordic. Stop feeling embarrassed about your thinning hair and start feeling your best with Hair Grow.
Hey, Clementon. We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. WPHT.
All right, nobody better that I can bring you in the country, I think, to break this down, at least looking into the mind of President Trump and where this goes next here on the Dom Giordano Show. And just for overall being on the point, given so many vantage points that he's occupied. The new book just out in September, Confronting the President. We've talked with Bill O'Reilly about that before, and it's just a fact. No matter how much you know about the presidents, you are going to learn and maybe even be challenged by and challenged back the observations of O'Reilly and the historian who puts these books together with them. Let's bring in Bill O'Reilly here on Talk Radio 1210. Hey, Bill, welcome in. The big O'Reilly takeaway last night that I was following pretty closely is J.D. Vance humanized himself, didn't go overboard here, was very skillful in this. Is that the biggest observation?
Yeah, for me, because that's what I did in Confronting the President. I humanized all 45 men. And some of them it was pretty difficult, Dom, to humanize LBJ. I mean, my God.
Oh, yeah.
But that is very important, particularly in this age of social media, that you are demonized, and certainly Vance has been, and he was able to get by that. And I'll give you a few bullet points, and then you can follow up. So one of the themes of Confronting the Presidents is that if Americans don't know who they're voting for, they are most likely making a mistake. The worst presidents were the ones that people knew nothing about. And I equate that to Kamala Harris, avoiding all exposure to any forum that might hold her accountable for what she has done. Now, there was a snap poll after the CBS debate. The poll said that Vance won the debate by 1 point. But that snap poll was totally useless, because it was all people believing what they want to believe, not what took place before them. And Americans should know this, that most people are not capable of evaluating anything objectively. Everything is emotional. So if you look at the debate from a historical point of view, which I did, and of course I'll report it on my No Spin News on BillO'Reilly.com in a journalistic way tonight, but as a historian, there are two yardsticks about who wins a debate, a presidential or vice presidential debate. Number one, who helped their ticket more? Is there any doubt who helped their ticket more last night?
No.
There is. Vance helped the Trump-Vance ticket more than Walz helped that Kamala Harris ticket. It wasn't that Walz was bad. It was that he was predictable and a little bit befuddled. Okay? So he said what he memorized, and okay, and there are millions of people who believe that, but he didn't rise up. There were no moments for him. Whereas Vance set the agenda. He was pleasant. He was authoritative. He answered most of the questions. He dodged the 2020 election. All right. So he helped his ticket more than Walz. The other one is, who looked more presidential? Who?
Well, Vance.
Now, if you're the mullah sitting in Tehran, all right, and you know that, life is going to get really difficult now with war and violence and murder and mayhem, who do you want to go up against? Vance or Walz? Come on.
Yeah, exactly right. So Bill, moving forward with this, I'm very interested in your take, or if you've been talking to President Trump. I still think, does Trump get it? He can do. He's not Walz. He's not Vance in a debate. Very few people, policy, are going to be on that. But it's not that hard to turn the tables on those moderators, as Vance did.
Right. Vance was very good with Margaret Brennan because she absolutely misstated immigration law. He was much kinder to her than I would have been. I'll tell you that. Now, Trump doesn't talk to me. I haven't talked to him in a long time. He's mad at me because I'm actually covering the campaign in a fair way, and he doesn't want that. He wants 100%, I'm the greatest guy that ever lived. That's what Donald Trump wants. If you deviate out of that, he doesn't like that. And I don't care. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. I have a job to do, and I'm going to do it. So I don't have any access to Trump at this point. He may call tonight in the middle of the night, possible. Vance did an interview with me, and I want everybody to Google O'Reilly Vance and look at it. He answered the questions. And that's all I require. I don't have to agree with you. If I think you're wrong, I'll tell you. But, look, just answer the questions, and we can get some information flow out.
So, Bill, are you still in the camp, though, that Trump should do the debate, particularly if it's on Fox or wherever it is, that he has it within him? My listeners are saying, no, don't do the debate. He can't do it. Now, he's done well in his own way in other debates. You mean to say he couldn't do what Vance did in his own way last night when it came to the fact-checking, et cetera? No, he couldn't do what Vance did. It's impossible for him to do it. He's not disciplined enough to do it. So you would say strategically, don't do another debate. No. If I were Trump, I would do another debate. But from what I understand, the Republican internal polling says Trump's going to win. And he has bought into that. Now, I've got a guy on tonight from Brazil who runs Atlas Polling. Atlas Polling was the most accurate in 20. And this guy, he's pretty smart. And nobody's ever heard of him. And I'm putting that on tonight. But I know for a fact that the Trump people think they have it. So their thinking is, why risk anything? We're ahead. I don't know whether, that's what they believe. So if you look at all the polling comes in, it's all over the place. But it's, he's winning by 2, he's down by 1, he's this, he's that, he's that. You can't. This Atlas guy is going to be a good interview because he's going to give me an overview of trends, and then trends with 5 weeks out are very important. I would do the interview because I believe that Trump's record for 4 years is way superior to Biden-Harris. There's not even in a ball game. And I could handle 3 against 1 or whatever it would be. Harris is never going to do Fox, ever. So Fox is out of the equation. It's not going to happen. 60 Minutes now was going to do them both, and Trump's saying, no, I'm not going to do it unless they apologize for the Hunter Biden laptop. I'm not sure that's the right strategy. But when I looked at what 60 Minutes is putting on, they're putting Whitaker on Harris. Whitaker's not a tough guy. He's not Mike Wallace. Everybody knows that. And then he wants Pelley on Trump. Pelley's 100 times tougher. Yeah, exactly. Unfair on that. If I'm Trump and I'm saying you're giving Harris a cupcake and you're giving me your toughest boy who doesn't like me, Pelley doesn't like him, why would I do it? I understand it, but I would still do it because I have the record. And if Trump would just fall back on that record and knock the emotional stuff out, the unfairness out, the anger out. I know that's easy for me to say. He has a perfect right to be angry. There's not been one other president in our history, Dom, except for Abraham Lincoln, who's more vilified than Donald Trump. Yeah, without a doubt. Bill, one other thing last night. I thought this was a game plan going forward. Maybe these Republicans can't execute it on the issue of abortion, because I think that Vance has been in the classic position before this, but I thought he handled that beautifully last night, and he gave the way forward for how to handle this. He wasn't given an opportunity, though. They didn't fact-check what goes on in Minnesota, where doctors have the right, if the baby survives, to determine what to do. That's a fact. Yeah, and Walz signed that bill. He changed the bill. He changed that mandated a doctor has to try to save the baby's life, and Walz lied about it. So, yeah, but there was no fact check, supposedly,
in that debate. That was one of the rules that Brennan broke when she hit Vance on the Columbia, Ohio thing. And Vance scolded her, and rightly so, and she made her look foolish. So Walsh is an abortion zealot. Very simple question was asked of the governor. Do you support terminating a fetus in the 9th month? He wouldn't answer it. Well, that's an answer.
Exactly.
Because 99 out of 100 civilized human beings would say, no, I don't.
Bill,
99 out of 100 human beings say, I don't support, unless the woman's going to die or the baby's going to die. It's got to be that catastrophic.
Bill, picture for a moment, too, what it says about Harris and the Democrat Party. Josh Shapiro and I have crossed swords, I can't tell you how many times, but if he were there last night with Vance, that would have been a heck of a debate. And I don't know that we would win Pennsylvania, and yet they couldn't tag him in.
Well, I don't think Walsh is a good pick, if that's what you're asking me. I don't know
exactly.
Shapiro. I don't know about this we business, Don. I don't want to be associated with any political party myself.
I hear you. Yeah.
I think they're all pinheads. I'm trying to get who's going to hurt the country least. That's what I'm getting. But anyway, I don't see what Walsh brings at all.
No, nothing.
A folksy guy who doesn't know he wasn't in Tiananmen Square. I mean, that was embarrassing.
Yeah.
I can be a knucklehead. Well, I don't know if we want a knucklehead going up against Putin. I don't know if we want one like that.
Yeah, exactly. Bill, now, one other question about your book. With the book out now and all the rounds you've been doing, I saw you with the Hoover interview and some of the others. What is it that has come up in this? Is there any insight you have now, further insight about what you're being asked about the presidents?
Most of the interviews have been very good because most of the interviewers, like you, have read at least part of the book, and they are curious about what I'm putting on the page. And that's why the book is number one on the New York Times list. And, that brings those people over at the Times great joy, Dom. It's the 19th time my name has been at the top of that list. And then every time, I'm sure they go out and celebrate. Oh, Riley's got another number one Times bestseller. We love that. This press that I have done is 95% fair, and the questions are intelligent. It's not a lot of stupidity. I'm not doing the morning shows. I'm not doing the people who make the omelets every morning. I'm not doing them. PBS was disgraceful, but that's PBS. And that was my fault because I know they're disgraceful. If you watch the Frontline documentary comparing Trump with Harris, they brought in 15 people, Frontline did, who were anti-Trump. 15. They brought in no one who was anti-Harris. That is a disgrace. PBS and NPR are disgraceful, fraudulent, and they are getting $550 million a year from the taxpayer. It's unbelievable, that corruption, that level of corruption.
Absolutely. Well, Bill, thank you again, as always. And soon we'll be talking, too, about great stuff for Christmas. And this book ranks right up there. I say it all the time. For people that know a good bit about the presidents, it's even better. I mean, I just couldn't believe some of the details. We've talked about Grant. We talked about the number that died of dysentery or something like that. You just don't see that in any other book.
And Vance looks exactly like U.S. Grant.
Yes, he does. Yeah.
Look at the picture. Look at the picture. I got a Grant in the book. Look at Vance. They could be twins.
And they're about the same height. They're about the same kind of builds. Everything about them is U.S. Grant. I guess that's good.
Yeah. So anyway, Dom, I really appreciate all the help. Always a pleasure to talk with you. Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome, Bill. Take care. Bill O'Reilly here on Talk Radio 1210. All right, you heard that insight now about the Trump campaign having internal polling indicating they believe now that they have the momentum to win. So why do it? Now, I haven't heard that anywhere else, that's how dead set they are on this. God knows what they have or what they believe in. I'm still believing it comes down to Pennsylvania, coming down to going to be incredibly tight. I'd rather react that way than believe, well, we're just running out the clock here. All right, coming up, we're going to talk with one of the Republican that sits on the Philadelphia commissioners who run the election in Philadelphia. Yesterday we had this stir because I'm going to find out how many people got these envelopes, the secrecy envelope that was stuck to the other envelope, and what to do about it. But I'm also going to probe a little bit about when will we know the Philadelphia vote is counted on election night? In other words, what's reasonable? Isn't 24 hours reasonable? Is it going to take longer than that based upon everything? All right, so it's rare we get one of the commissioners on who actually run the vote in Philadelphia. And we have this controversy. About 10,000 ballots went out, and a number of them were ballots that were adhered to the secrecy ballot somehow or another. How did that happen? Have they gotten to the bottom of it? All right, we'll talk with the commissioner next. Here's how you get in, though. 855-839-1210. And O'Reilly, I haven't heard him say that anywhere else. The Trump people believe their internal polling indicates where the momentum is, and they feel more certain than we've been led on that they're going to win. That's a good feeling. All right, and that's one poll. That's their internal poll. Might be very detailed. 855-839-1210, you get on board. Let's talk batteries plus bulbs for a moment. At Batteries Plus Bulbs in Mount Laurel and Northfield, my friend Roy is looking for help. Now, this is a great business. Roy started the first Batteries Plus Bulbs in the area. Now he has two of them, and they have everything that you need for anything, or they'll get it easily for you. But in addition to that, customer service, anything with tech, not just your phone, it could be literally anything. They power it, they light it, and they fix it. That's the main thing going on here. So with all that business that we've been sending them, they need some more help. They'd like a handy do-it-yourselfer would be ideal. Great low-pressure, part-time job. Customer service is the key. If you're willing to do what it takes to help, you need to talk to Roy. I'll give you the number, 856-638-0778, 856-638-0778. Give him a call. Join the team there. They power it, they light it, and they fix it. You give a call, too, whatever the tech issue is. Batteries Plus Bulbs, Mount Laurel and Northfield.
This is Carson Daly, and on behalf of Dr. Alfie, Katie Neal, and all of our guests, I want to thank you for joining us for I'm Listening, Odyssey's mental health initiative. Our goal is to open our minds and hearts to more mental health conversations, because talk saves lives. If you missed the special or want to hear it again, you can find it at imlistening.org and on the free Odyssey app. That's AUDACY. For more resources on your mental health journey, please visit imlistening.org. Thanks again.
Hey, it's Rich. Zeoli, winter is coming. Water will freeze and thaw around your property and into your foundation, and that's when the worst damage will happen. I used to worry about water, but then Garden State Earthworks solved my water problem for good. When we had our wet basement, it was caused by excess outside stagnant water. We called Garden State Earthworks. They assessed and drained the water away once and for all. Call the guy I trust, Lou Vargo at Garden State Earthworks, 856-848-4444 or GardenStateEarthworks.com.
They're pounding on the door. They're calling on the phone. They're threatening to close your business. If debt has your business on the brink, call Ray Reynolds, the godfather of credit. For over 40 years, Ray Reynolds has helped thousands of customers get millions in cash credit. It's no wonder why they call Ray the godfather of credit. He may even be able to raise your score above 750 before the end of the year. You could even get a new personal or business credit line up to $50,000 within days. If your credit needs a rebuild, call Ray Reynolds and receive a $1,000 cash credit credit card at closing. Raise your credit score to 750 or more. Call Ray Reynolds at 800-576-2295. 800-576-2295. Learn about Ray's secrets to success and how he can fix and improve your credit score to 750 or more. Call the Godfather of Credit Rebuild, Ray Reynolds, at 800-576-2295. 800-576-2295.
Weather sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
A cold front approaching the Delaware Valley today will keep conditions mostly cloudy. A stray shower is possible mainly to the west with a high 71. Tonight, mostly cloudy skies continue with a low of around 60. And for Thursday, becoming partly sunny and warmer with a high 76.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. We recently received a call from an injured person. The insurance company had offered them $11,000. We took the case over and got more than $2 million in court. Morgan & Morgan.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Broadcasting live from the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and on the free Odyssey app.
Okay, it is Dom time. We're on top of what's going on here in Pennsylvania, where we actually have some ability to really influence the outcome. And yesterday, we started to hear these reports of some envelopes, and the tweet that was put out by the Pennsylvania State Department about due to humidity in Pennsylvania. Whoa, that caught our attention. Some of these are sticking with these or sealed shut with the secrecy envelope. Joining us to break that down, but I have a lot of other things to talk with the commissioner about. He is the minority, the Republican representative on the commissioners who run elections, among other things, in Philadelphia. Commissioner Seth Bluestein is with us here on Talk Radio 1210. Commissioner, welcome back, Seth, and thanks for joining us.
Hey, Tom. Great to be back. Thanks for having me.
Well, Seth, tell me, what is it exactly now? Can you pinpoint what happened? Do you have any idea of the numbers of these ballots that went out?
Well, we mailed out to the entire applicant pool of Philadelphia voters 150,000 mail ballots that have been requested so far.
Okay.
And those ballots
by the way, Seth,
to
interrupt, is that about normal? You were on the board then, weren't you, in 2020? Is that about the normal number at this point? I've heard that these things in Philadelphia might be down a little bit.
Yeah, applications for mail ballots are down compared to 2020. A lot of voters who voted by mail at that time have returned to voting in person.
Okay.
Yeah, so those ballots were mailed out last week and started arriving in mailboxes over the weekend. And as you know, Friday and Saturday, it was raining in Philadelphia and the general southeast area of Pennsylvania. And some of the ballots, if there was exposure to moisture, some of the envelopes, I should say, the glue on the inner envelopes may be a little bit stickier than one would want.
Okay, so were they stuck together? Is that what happened?
Yeah, so the envelope flap just sealed to itself in transit for some of the ballots, for some of the envelopes. I don't have an exact number, but what we do know is 15,000 voters have already returned their mail ballots. So about 10% of what was mailed out has already come back in. So this is clearly not a universal problem. It seems to me to be pretty low scale impact.
Okay, and you've put out what people can do. There's several things they can do around that. But you're absolutely certain on that, then, that this wasn't something, say, in an office and they got stuck. We know that it was the rain, you believe?
Yes.
Do you anticipate that that would happen again, though? I mean, it can rain any number of times.
Well, it's really just the small amount of the ballots that were exposed to the elements. It was not all of them, and the bulk of those ballots have already gone out. So we don't expect a significant increase in mail ballot applications, even if another 30 or 40,000 applications are approved and ballots mailed out. Over the next couple of weeks, we don't really expect to see that type of experience again.
Okay. Wanted to ask you, and I know this is pretty difficult, if you can. We have better machinery. You guys know more what you're doing. You learn all the time from each election. We have money put in to be tagging one team in, as I understand it. The counting goes on. What's your sense among the commissioners that you could tell the public is a reasonable window to have the Philadelphia result done? In other words, when the polls close at 8 o'clock, Seth, that night, is it reasonable to think by 8 o'clock the next night, based upon projections and wargaming this and all? What's reasonable? Because I don't want to put you in conflict with Al Schmidt, but he's out there, I guess, trying to lower expectations and seeming to suggest it could be quite a while before Pennsylvania's done. How about Philadelphia?
I think it's a very important question, so I want to get into it a little bit with some detail and nuance, if that's all right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So officially, the timeline for counting votes overall, in person, by mail, provisional ballot, Pennsylvania law gives us 2 weeks for every vote to get counted. That's the way it's always been. So the question that is being asked is really, when will enough of those votes be counted for the race to be called, right? People want to know who the winner is going to be, even if it's unofficial and it's just the networks calling a race. So in 2020, that happened the Saturday after the election. There's a couple things in our favor, as you mentioned. One, we have more and faster technology. We have more experience counting the ballots. And as I said, applications for mail ballots are lower than they were in 2020. So all of those things combined will allow us to have those ballots get counted faster. Whether or not the race is able to be called will really come down to the margin of the election. If one of the candidates is winning by 100,000 votes or 150,000 votes, that is a lot different than a candidate being in the lead by 10,000 votes. So to be very direct with you, will the majority of Philadelphia's mail ballots be in the result totals by 8 p.m. on election night? The answer to that is no.
Right.
We are going to have 150 to 200,000 mail ballots. It will take more than those 12 to 14 hours to get those ballots counted. But we're not going to stop. We will be counting around the clock, starting at 7 a.m. on election day, through the night going into Wednesday, until we are able to canvass every single ballot.
Can you give us an idea of the speed of the machines? I know we're really getting granular, but I mean, that's what this is coming down to. The process, how many votes are you processing? And then do you go back and do it a second time, Seth, or how does that work?
Yeah, so it's not really about the speed of the machines. The tabulators that actually scan the results from the ballots are all very fast. There still requires a manual human process, though, to counting these ballots. The first thing we do is we have to review each envelope to ensure that they are signed and dated. Mm-hmm. That's a human task. And when we are removing the ballots from the envelopes, even though we have machinery to assist with that, there's still a human element to actually removing those ballots. And then the part that takes the most time is unfolding the ballot. I mean, those ballots are folded and put in the envelopes, and you actually have to unfold and flatten every single ballot.
Right.
So if you think about, let's estimate 200,000 mail ballots for easy math. What that means is between the outer envelope, the secrecy envelope, and the ballot, humans have to handle 600,000 pieces of paper. It's a lot of work to count those ballots. So it does take some time to do it right and to make sure it's being done with integrity. And that's what we're going to do. We will make sure that every single vote gets counted accurately, and we will do it as efficiently as possible.
And all the votes are counted in one spot?
Yes.
Okay. And how do the votes get there, Seth? I mean, I hate to be so granular, but I mean, we're trying to be as transparent as possible, and that's why I'm glad you came on today. How do the votes arrive there? We know the ones that are mailed in and they're brought to you. How does that work?
Yeah, so there's two ways that voters can return their mail ballots. They can mail them in, or they can put them in one of the drop boxes. So we will have 34 drop boxes around the city that our staff, who are civil service employees in Philadelphia, collect those ballots every single day and bring them to our election warehouse where they will get date and time stamped and then secured in a locked cage.
Okay. And what's your role in all this? What do you do during this process, Seth?
Well, the commissioners serve as the Board of Elections, and it's our job to set the policies and the directives to have the staff follow them. So we work with our executive team to provide oversight of all of these procedures, and that is why it is so important that we have a bipartisan Board of Elections. And that's something I always want to make sure that we emphasize when we have these conversations, is that this is not, and I know Philadelphia's reputation, and I know it's a majority Democratic city, but Philadelphia has Republican representation on the board and amongst the executive team, and it is our job to make sure the elections are being run properly. And that's what we're doing every single day.
All right. Well, Seth, please certainly come back before the election. Let's hope for less humidity and rain out there with these envelopes.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be happy to come back.
Thank you.
Tom.
Thanks, Commissioner. Seth Bluestein here on Talk Radio 1210, 855-839-1210. We've spoken with Linda Kearns. I'm doing a Zoom call with her and the volunteers tonight that I'm really fired up about, and we'll have her on tomorrow to give you an update around this. All right, so you heard from one of the commissioners on this. People are eyeballing it, though, and you heard the process there. I still didn't get a full timeline out of this, but we're getting closer to it. All right, phone lines are 855-839-1210. You get on board. Kristen Welker, no fan of the Trump campaign, the Meet the Press woman. I just saw her on an interview saying she's been getting all kinds of text messages from Democrats who are panicked after last night. Well, they ought to be, seeing Walz tagged into this. Now, the VP debate doesn't matter significantly usually, but in a close election like this, in a place like Pennsylvania, this has impact. J.D. Vance now has a different persona out there versus what the media did to him before. That's got to help. That's got to free him up more. Phone lines are 855-839-1210. You get on board. Side question today. The other day was National Coffee Day. So today, the side question is, hit us with something that is an acquired taste. It could be a person. It could be something you do. It can be a food, but don't just think foods. Coffee, definitely an acquired taste. I would say asparagus. I threw that one in just because I know people would blanch at it. I've seen online people trying to make the case that Yoko Ono is an acquired taste. That's gone many bridges too far. Many bridges. I can't see any universe where Yoko Ono could be an acquired anything.
To this day, are people acquired to her yet?
No. Who is? Exactly right. But I'm trying to broaden this out that it would involve not just a food. Give us a person. Give us something people do that you think over the course of time is an acquired taste. Henry, what's yours?
Yeah, so I'll take two. One of the liquors I didn't really care for much in college was tequila.
Ah, okay.
Tequila, as I've gotten older, it has definitely been my go-to kind of liquor on a night out. And then going away from food and drink, how about foreign films, foreign movies? Bong Joon-ho,
that's a tough one, yeah?
Bong Joon-ho, when he won the Oscar for Parasite, part of his speech said, once you get past that 1-inch layer of subtitles, a world of movies opens up to you. And I was like, oh, that's a good point. So I started watching more, foreign films, and he's right. There are some really good ones out there.
That's a great example. See, I think it's more than just a language, so there's just cultural things you have to break through. All right, so we're looking for that. Don't just say a food. If you have a food, it's a great one. We'll take that too. Give me your reaction. You heard the commissioner here in Philadelphia. You also heard Bill O'Reilly, 855-839-1210. You get on board. AT&T and Verizon Wireless All you have to do is push pound 1210. The big takeaway from O'Reilly, the Trump campaign feels they have the momentum. Their internal polling indicates what's happening here is they're going to win. Kind of far out to be making that prediction, I think. That's the type of stuff you might know a week out. But that's his insight from talking to Trump people. So I understand why he won't do the 60 Minutes interview. Coming up, I want to play you Don Jr. in the spin room. Must have been unbelievable last night with Caitlin Collins, making the point that the media does have responsibility at some level, however you want to shake it out, for these assassination attempts. It's an obvious thing. All right, are you tired of relying on caffeine for a quick energy fix? There's a better way to revitalize your body from within. Introducing Oracine by Rescue Natural Supplements, the cellular energizer that helps your body produce its own natural fuel. Say goodbye to daily fatigue and a low to lasting energy. As a bonus, Oracine supports heart health and optimal blood pressure, too. That's why you can't miss out on this exclusive radio offer. Buy one bottle of Oracine, get another absolutely free. Simply use the code FUEL when you place your order. Call today at 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Speak to a knowledgeable product consultant or use the code online when you visit res-q.com. That's res-q.com. Again, be sure to use that code FUEL, F-U-E-L, for this buy one, get one free offer on Rescue Oracine. Remember, use the code FUEL at res-q.com. Do it today.
This school year, get your child or grandchild the help they need to succeed. Special tutoring and custom instruction is available from METC, the Motivational Educational Tutoring Company. Now's the time to call Kathy Ganna and help your child have an outstanding year. Call the Motivational Educational Tutoring Company. For over 30 years, METC's tutoring studio, founded by educator Kathy Ganna, has helped people of all ages grow personally and academically. Call Kathy today at 215-493-4200. METC offers motivational SAT prep as well as academic skills and leadership training. Call 215-493-4200. Visit online at METC.com. Call METC's tutoring studio today at 215-493-4200 or email Kathy directly at info@METC.com. Remember, 1210 listeners receive a free 1-hour consultation. Take advantage of this opportunity to help your child get one-on-one help. Call 215-493-4200. That's 215-493-4200.
Do you have a property that you no longer want? Maybe you inherited the property. Maybe you're underwater in the property. Or maybe you're just a tired landlord, tired of dealing with tenants. Listen, I can buy those properties and I'll buy those properties fast. I can close in 2 weeks. I buy properties cash. My name is Larry Steinhaus. Give me a call at 855-939-1137. That's 855-939-1137, and I will personally answer the call. You can also visit easyOutRealEstate.com. Hey, this is Larry Steinhaus from Investor Schooling. Did you know I have a radio show every Saturday from 1 to 3? It's called The Larry Steinhaus Show, and it's sponsored by Investor Schooling. On this show, you will learn things about finances and things about money that you never knew before. But even more of a reason to listen to this show is how much fun we have. If you haven't heard the banter between me, Omri, and Dr. Deb, you haven't heard the greatest show on earth. Listen to this show this Saturday at 1 o'clock right here on WPHT, and I promise you will learn something.
If you're driving a car or truck with an expired warranty and suddenly lost your transmission or needed a full engine repair, would a $4,000 repair bill leave you stranded? I'm Danica Patrick. Don't get caught off guard with a vehicle breakdown. Choose the company I trust, Endurance. No matter the mileage, if your vehicle is less than 20 years old, Endurance offers auto protection plans for any budget. Protection on the drivetrain, electrical, transmission, AC, and more. Plus 24/7 roadside assistance and rental car reimbursement on any plan. Endurance handles everything from making the claim to paying the certified mechanic of your choice. Act now and get 1 full year of elite benefits, a $2,000 value, free.
Endurance has paid hundreds of millions in claims. Call for your fast free quote today. Call 800-291-3183. That's 800-291-3183. 800-291-3183.
Have you subscribed to our YouTube channel yet? Do it today. 1210 WPHT.
A politician's daughter was accused of drinking water.
All right, Tom Giordano Show. Hit us on the side question. I like Henry's. Dan with us now after some consultation. So, Dan, what's yours? An acquired taste?
One that Maisie introduced to me, Dom. It's something I'm kind of ashamed to admit, but not really. It's The Real Housewives. Yeah.
Oh, God.
I hated it at first, but as I started to watch it, I realized it was pretty much just women's version of wrestling. So I kind of watch it through that lens now, and I happen to enjoy it. Real Housewives of Salt Lake just kicked off, Tom. They got New York coming up. It's
Salt Lake?
Yeah, Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
The Mormons, you follow them. It's great.
By the way, watching Netflix yesterday, Mr. McMahon.
Yeah, you watched
Vince McMahon Jr. It's even worse. It's great, but I mean, he's even worse.
They're kind to him in the first episode, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's brutal, the whole background.
Yeah,
it's even worse
once they get
than you
into
can
it,
imagine.
yeah.
His childhood, et cetera. My God.
Yeah.
It's staggering.
And his father, and not knowing his father. And
Yeah, as
knowing
much
him.
as I thought I knew wrestling, this is even a lot worse. Wow.
Going to take one more off the board, Dom?
Yes.
And this is because of you. Sir Tom Jones.
There you go.
At first, I made fun of you with the corny music and What's New Pussycat, but after I listened to some covers and recognized the strength of the man's voice, I've acquired the taste.
Good. Tom Jones and Janet Joplin. I think we did a side question on that once. That you can't believe it, those two performing together. It's just...
You know I'm standing
It's probably the most 70s thing I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, my God. I mean, she was the epitome of hip, and he strikes me as Vegas.
Oh, there's afros, there's leisure suits.
Yeah, but it
tie-dye.
worked. Yeah, it worked big time.
Stick mics. Remember the stick mics?
Oh, yeah, exactly. All right, so that's the acquired taste. J.D. Vance, not much to nitpick at all last night. Did he offer a way forward on abortion for Republicans? Yes. You heard O'Reilly. The Trump people think the internal polling indicates where the momentum is. Now, they're looking at it. I don't doubt it, but I see Pennsylvania as incredibly close. So tonight I'll be speaking to listeners who are volunteers who are going to be eyeballing what the commissioner told us.
So on the topic of abortion, Vance talked about the Catholic doctors and not wanting to proceed with that, and I know you talked about that as well, but one of the top posts on Reddit for the whole debate and the politics, and remember this is the far left Reddit.
Yes.
Quote, should a Catholic hospital be forced to perform an abortion? They say, yes, doctors have a strict code of ethics. Your religion should not supersede the well-being of a patient. And that's one of the most upvoted posts from this entire debate.
Just the sheer lack of any knowledge of anything with that. You know what the test is? It's the same thing with the morning after pill, but abortion is even worse. If the pharmacist... and there's another pharmacy next door, go and get it next door. Don't bother the guy who doesn't want to do it. If it's the only one within X number of miles and, something like that, I understand. No, we're not going to force Catholic hospitals to do abortions because clowns on Reddit don't get freedom of religion. All right, so Riley Gaines is in the on-deck circle. She's coming to an event tonight in our area, and we'll catch up with her thoughts on the debate last night. This was textbook. You heard O'Reilly. He agrees with listeners on Twitter. They don't think Trump could do this. Why am I holding out hope? And I'm the one getting killed here saying I think Trump could do it. I just don't understand this. What's so different about Vance? 855-839-1210. I think it's relatively easy to go after moderators like this. And Vance did it perfectly last night. All right, big 1 o'clock hour next on Talk Radio 1210.
Your weeknights are getting a whole lot better. Starting Monday, October 7th with Jimmy Fallon, 7 to 10 p.m.
I met Diddy. Diddy had a restaurant, and he used to walk around with a bottle of champagne in his hand, which is a little weird. You know what I'm saying? If the guy who's the proprietor is drinking straight out of the bottle, it makes you wonder if the Board of Health has some reservations.
And Walter Sterling, 10 to 1.
I hate tolls. I don't believe in them charging $1 more to go over the river. What the hell is that about? What did I get for that going from $5 to $6? These are criminal events.
Listen weeknights starting October 7th on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-924-7415. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-924-7415. 800-924-7415. 800-924-7415.
Wawa has classic hoagies for just $6. Whether it's cheesesteak, meatball, or Italian, get any classic hoagie for just $6. Gotta have a Wawa.
Don't miss the Education Show with Dom Giordano every Sunday morning at 5:30. Find out how you can help your child or grandchild succeed. Sponsored by New Hope Academy.
Pastor Brad Lacey here, First Baptist Church, Conshohocken. Join us Saturdays for the great message and be blessed. 5 a.m. right here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
On Philadelphia's Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. It's Dom time. Now, Dom Giordano.
All right, it is Dom time. Dan and I have talked to Riley Gaines, and Dan more than I off air, maybe 50 times. And every time that we've had her on, we've seen the development in what she's doing. It is just mind-boggling. All out of Leah Thomas. Thank you, Leah Thomas. We never would have gotten to know Riley Gaines and her movement. And she's going to be in town, Dan, 4 o'clock in Bluebell today. I like Bluebell. There's a place there that makes the thinnest pancakes. Let me tell Riley about that. No, I'm serious. Riley Gaines on Talk Radio 1210, coming to town finally. I have to get over to Bluebell today at 4 o'clock. Riley, where are you going to be?
Well, first, I'm so excited to talk with you guys. It's always a joy being on. I wish I would have coordinated this better, and I could be in studio with y'all. That's a dream of mine. Forget Joe Rogan.
Wait a minute. Before
Tucker
the election,
Carlson.
we need to have you here. And we have a producer who says he could swim alongside you.
No,
We're
I cannot.
arranging
That's
for,
Henry, right?
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's not
okay.
Henry. It's Jim Kelly. And
I want to race you guys up the Rocky Steps.
Oh, man. All right.
Right,
So-
if you're hanging around through the day, come tomorrow. We'd love to have you.
Yes, if you're staying
got it.
over.
You got it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We'll do that. So if you're anywhere
Well,
near
we'll coordinate.
If you're near the blue, do swimmers, do you guys carbo stack or do anything like that? What do you do before a race?
Of course, that's what you do. You eat lots of pasta. That's a big one. Lots of bread. Lots of starches and carbs and all the things. And so last night, actually, I was in Harrisburg. Spent the day in Harrisburg yesterday at the Capitol. Of course, advocating for common sense legislation. Had a really great day. Spent the day with sponsors of the previous Save Women's Sports bill that was initially introduced in 2021. but to really no one's surprise, at least no one's surprise if you've been paying attention, then Governor Wolf vetoed this. They've had a hard time reintroducing, but Senator Ward, Representative Gleim, Representative Kiefer, really great people. And so very productive day yesterday in the Capitol. Here today, like you said, we're having a little round table discussion with parents in the area, parents who have young daughters who are concerned. These aren't even parents who are strictly Republicans or conservatives or feel very staunchly about other issues. I mean, these are parents who have unfortunately had to live the very real effects of progressive policy introduced, of course, at the state level, but also what we have seen from the Biden-Harris administration regarding Title IX.
You'll be at 860 Penland Bluebell Pike, Route 40, Dan? 240?
Number 240.
Number 240.
Yeah,
Okay,
Bluebell.
that's in Bluebell at 4 p.m. today. You're near the Bluebell Inn. I'm telling you, stop in there because I got to get there. They would give it to you, the recipe. I like pancakes a lot, but they're too fluffy. I don't. This guy has the thinnest pancakes on the East Coast. So I'm sure Riley Gaines can get it out of him how to make them, Dan. You get on that, please. Put Henry on it, too. Put the whole staff on that. We need that. So, Riley, you're going to be with NFL star. I don't
Murphy
know.
there.
Who, Dan?
Frank Murphy.
I don't know Frank Murphy. Who did he play? Tennessee? No?
No, Frank actually played with the Buccaneers. He played with the Dolphins. He really is. He has an incredible story of redemption, finding Christ, of finding his purpose, and mentoring others, mentoring other young men. He's really incredible and now has just been a force. He tackles issues like the fatherless epidemic, really, that has plagued this country, that has been detrimental to our youth, especially young boys. You know, we talk a lot surrounding the gender ideology movement about how it affects girls, but one, it also affects boys. But there are other issues like the fatherless epidemic. So he's great there. He does wonderful work in prison reform and putting curriculums in prison, putting young delinquents who have undoubtedly messed up back on track and putting them in a position where they can succeed and achieve once they get out. And so really, really important stuff, and it's a super cool collaboration, really. We're doing really wonderful work.
Also, Lou Holtz, who's quite a character, is the vice chair of America's First Athletes Coalition. Oh, okay. I thought Lou Holtz is what then?
No, Lou's just involved with the organization. Lou had a great quote about Riley, Dom. He says, "We are blessed to have someone with the talents and abilities of Riley Gaines join our team. She is someone who stands not for what is popular, but for what is right, and America needs more than that." Quite some great words there from a legendary coach, Riley.
Absolutely.
Isn't it just? He really is. He's a legend. But we formed kind of this coalition, for lack of better words, of elite athletes. We have deemed this coalition the Athletes for America. And it's filled with great people, other NFL stars like Jack Brewer. Coach Holtz has been a wonderful, wonderful role model, of course, on the field, what he's done in coaching. But beyond that, he's a wonderful person, a wonderful human who cares about America and who cares about making it great again.
Riley, watching last night's debate, it was textbook. And to some of the points you made, J.D. Vance humanizing himself after the media attacks, particularly the issue of abortion, but some of the other things that we've talked about here. I wish they had gotten into what is a flashpoint, which would have been an interesting debate, the prime thing with you in sports, some of the stuff going on. As much as there's big issues out there, Americans, we know up and down the line, care about this deeply.
Absolutely, and I totally agree. The debate last night, it was so refreshing because it was so substantive. It had so much substance to it, which is, in my lifetime, I haven't really seen that type of dialogue and interaction. So it was wonderful. But to your point, I hate that the gender ideology movement has somehow been ignored or escaped the three national debates that we have had. this is an issue that one, it's a losing issue for the Democrats, and they know that. They know that. ABC knows that. CBS knows that. CNN knows that. MSNBC, they all know it. That's why they're not asking it, of course. But it's crucial, especially whether it's the sports stuff or, more importantly, I believe, that what we are seeing in regard to the transing of kids, how children are being surgically and chemically castrated. Last night was a perfect opportunity, considering Governor Walz has been the biggest proponent for such. He has made Minnesota a trans refugee sanctuary state where kids from across the nation can come without even their parents' approval and get healthy body parts cut off. How in the world are we not talking about that? We will look back at this little blip in time, 50 years, I don't know the timeline, but we will look back at this and call it what it is, which is the biggest medical scandal this world has ever seen. How did we not address this? Wild to me, but of course I believe entirely by design.
That is beautifully put. There are some of the biggest that have been put to bed. This opens it up. How could so many people, maybe it's not so many, but how could powerful people like Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, which I used to sing the praises of, go down this path? That is exactly right. Now, Riley, one of the other things, kind of in your spare time, if there is any, you are the Outkick Gains for Girls show. Where do people find that?
You're right. I have a show with Outkick. It is called Gains for Girls. You can find that at outkick.com. Super cool stuff we're doing there. Talking to, of course, people who have been impacted by this movement. Having world leaders on, like Tulsi Gabbard was just recently on. This week we talk about the border with investigative journalist Sarah Carter, who spent some time down there. We had an episode come out today. Really, really great stuff. I believe next week is Senator Marsha Blackburn, so stay tuned for that one. But it's important to, of course, be on the ground advocating, but to spread awareness, which is what the podcast Gains for Girls is doing.
Great stuff. And where do people see your website overall of everything you're doing? And just one reminder, you'll be over in Bluebell today at 860 Penn Lynn, Bluebell Pike, number 240, today at 4 o'clock. Where do they go for all things Riley Gaines?
Yes, you can follow me on X. That is Riley_Gaines_. If you want to see some takedowns of Keith Olbermann, that's what I like to do in my free time. Mark Cuban, even last week, I'm like, what am I doing arguing with Mark Cuban? What do I know?
Well, wait a minute. What was Mark Cuban arguing with you about? Economic policy or Shark Tank or what?
No, the border. He says that Kamala Harris has done a great job with the border, to which I told him, I didn't realize that allowing 13,000 murderers, almost 16,000 rapists, and 320,000 unaccounted for children, maybe we have different standards of a good job, but to me that doesn't qualify.
Yeah, Riley, hope to get over there and see you today, but congratulations on everything. Bluebell today. If you're in town, we are going to run. Dan will be my surrogate in this. Oh, boy. Wait a minute. I'm going to tag another producer. I'm looking here in the producer's lounge.
We're bringing the wife, Maisie. She used to run at one point.
Okay, I'll bring Maisie will be the surrogate for Dan running against Riley Gaines up the steps of the Art Museum.
You're going down. You can time us down.
All right, Riley. Thank you. Thanks very much.
Thanks, guys.
I wish I had known this, Dan. We would have done that, and get her over here. I know it's last minute. Boy, I got that call tonight. I'm getting ready for that. Riley Gaines over in Bluebell. The pancakes. What does that guy do?
It's Gilchrist. It's better, I got to say. Go to Atlantic City. They got those small pancakes. And you're kind of getting trashed by a chef, Newman, over on YouTube. He says, if you're talking about pancakes that are that thin, Dom, you should probably be referring to them as crepes, not pancakes.
Okay. I don't care. I know what tastes better, though. That big, fluffy pancake is completely out of line.
They call them pancakes. You're 100% right. I mean, we should note that.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, and they do at Gilchrist, too. It's...
All right, got to go to Atlantic City.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Oh, this is a great one. Let me take this one, Dan. Side question today, National Coffee Day. I don't know. This takes a lot of time. Henry might go for it with the foreign films and all that. But Chris in Malvern. Chris, what's a great acquired taste?
Well, I got dumped by this girl for a lot of different reasons, but one of them was because I wasn't cool and used chopsticks.
Wait, she dumped you for that, Chris?
Oh, my God. Oh.
What was that conversation? Take us inside that conversation, Chris, when you were broken up with over chopsticks. Did she actually like straight up tell you, it's your lack of chopstick usage that's ending this?
Right. We were at this party and they served sushi, which is actually another one, but mainly they were using chopsticks, all of them, and I wouldn't do it.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, that is a great one. A great call. That's in the lead.
Are you good with chopsticks?
No.
No,
It's too much work.
Really?
I mean, why do that?
I always, when I go to like an Asian restaurant, I always try to use the chopsticks at first, get frustrated, and then just.
So if you're eating a sushi, I don't know, Dama, do you eat sushi?
It's okay. I'm not going to go crazy over it or down it, so I'm in the middle.
So we're not using chopsticks, and you got to dip it in the soy sauce with the ginger and the wasabi. Are you guys sticking a fork in your sushi?
Of course.
Oh my god.
Why not?
I try to keep the fork out of it as best as I can.
So you're just using your fingers?
No. You just don't dip the fork in all the way through.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah. It's
eating sushi with a fork, guys.
It's a lot of work
to be
using.
I'd rather the hands than a fork.
And chopsticks might be a bit pretentious, Henry. I kind of think that's part of it. I'm going with
that's all these
Seinfeld.
Asian cultures.
The woman that had the chopsticks in her hair when George broke up with her.
I think more people use chopsticks than a fork in the world.
So they play soccer more than NFL football too. That's true. All right, 855-839-1210. That's the side question today. Jump on board. We've already heard from O'Reilly, and the nugget there was the Trump people believe their internal polling shows them the momentum that's there, that they're going to win. All right, my sense of things is it's coming down to Pennsylvania, and it's going to be very, very close. And you heard the commissioner about when they may have Philadelphia count it. And it seems to be not humidity, but rain, Dan. I don't know if you heard him say that, with some of these envelopes and the sticking and everything else. Mm-hmm. We'll see what Linda Kearns thinks about that. She'll be on tomorrow.
I mean, can't you just look at the outside of the envelope and see that it's rain damaged if it's rain?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, for now, we're going to see if more start to turn up and where this leads. 855-839-1210, though. That's how you get on board on Talk Radio 1210.
Kale and Company weekday mornings 6 till 10.
Great veteran herself, Rebecca Cornell. What message would you give to somebody that's younger, that's listening to this show, that is eligible to serve, but might be hesitant with all the conflict that's going on right now and possible fear of deployment?
It was fearful. Thankfully, everyone that I went and deployed with came back home. It was something that helped me grow as a person. Someone wanting to join the military and stepping into that uncomfortability is what really allows us to grow.
Start your day with Kale and Company. Weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free information kit. 800-714-9090. 800-714-9090. 800-714-9090.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
For a complete list of Talk Radio 1210 WPHT's contest rules, go to 1210WPHT.com/rules. At PGW, safety is essential to delivering clean, reliable natural gas to Philadelphia homes and businesses. If you smell gas, call PGW at 215-235-1212.
Inflation, recession, interest rates, the Fed. How do you make sense of it all? Join Joe Yakovich on The Heart of Your Money, Sundays at 9 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Miss any of the Dom Giordano program? Download and follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app.
All right, Dom Giordano's show. The Daily Mail apparently reporting about second gentleman Doug Emhoff, more difficulties with women. Apparently, the woman who was impregnated, the nanny, he didn't like looking at another guy. This was in a valet line after a May 2012 Cannes Film Festival event in France. And there are allegations of being hit around there. Jealous about that. So we'll see as the day goes on if there's more on that. I mention that because Emhoff has been put out there, and Walz. So let's center on Walz as the epitome of the new man, of masculinity. Democrats taking that back. When you looked at Walz last night and you saw this play out, what an abysmal failure on that front. We called it early on with Walz. This guy's not going to go to rural America with this masquerade and fire them up to vote for Democrats again. I haven't even seen him. I think he took one stab maybe here in Pennsylvania, and that was it. And as far as men, after seeing that last night, was Walz able to, in any way, I mean, what group did Walz appeal to? He seemed to appeal to a group. Here is Chris Hayes, the 8 o'clock guy on MSNBC, say that Walz was endearing last night. Cut 11.
Incredibly compelling and dynamic.
Right, we can't really compare this to that.
Exactly.
That was one of the best and worst performances I've ever seen.
That's right. Yeah, we've hit both parts of the bell curve. So
sure,
this was more in the middle. Okay. There was a lot that I thought was interesting. I mean, I think that, look, Vance is a smooth talker and very sort of, he's kind of relaxed and deft in that kind of environment. Sure. Walz was so clearly very nervous, which I always find very endearing and human. Sure. When you can hear that little constriction in the throat. Yeah. Kamala Harris's first answer in that last debate was the same way. You could just hear it. Mm-hmm. But I think ultimately, on the sort of last exchange about the 2020 election, and particularly on some real meat and potatoes things, particularly on healthcare, I think Walz did a really, really good job on sort of driving the key themes of the campaign.
All right, continue to believe that. Even though the conventional wisdom is that a VP debate is not significant, I pretty much buy into that. This did a lot last night to humanize Vance. He opened up the abortion front in a way that showed a path for Republicans to be using, and he deftly handled the fact-checking and how to deal with that. Walz, even though the topics were skewed toward him, climate, endless on health care, guns, and I wanted to drill down. Vance is being mocked because he was talking about some of the things that you should do with schools. And instead, Walz and the others mocked that, like better locks that lock better and lock quicker and all this stuff. What, are we going to make them fortresses? And the answer is, yeah, there's got to be more of that mentality and or having people there that can return fire. Because the notion that somehow or another you're just going to take away all guns, that's what Walz wanted to do. Walz actually said after football practice many times, he had his shotgun in the car because he was going pheasant hunting. I found that to be curious because football practice is probably over in the dark. So he was going to go hunting right after that. Doesn't seem likely. All right, 855-839-1210. So last night, how I was wishing President Trump in the first debate had pivoted on the fact checkers in that way, or even more aggressively, that would have been a moment. That's the thing that's missed here. All right, let's go to Alex in Springfield. He's on Talk Radio 1210. Hey, Alex.
Yo, Dom. So when I'm watching the debate last night, and when the moderator, I forget her name, but she brought up, Trump's plan for mass deportation, and she asked J.D. Vance specifically, will you deport people that are here illegally with children? And J.D. Vance kind of sidestepped the question, and he answered. He was like, well, one, if you entered here illegally, you've already committed a crime. But two, if you're in here illegally and you committed a crime in here illegally, those are going to be the people that we are going to deport first, and that's about 1 million people, and yada, yada, yada. Now, I don't understand why J.D. Vance couldn't just say what the American public wants to hear. All he had to say was, if you are in this country illegally, you committed a crime. If you are in this country illegally and you committed a crime in here while you're in here illegally, we do not care if you've had 22 anchor babies. We are going to deport you.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Why the overkill on this? Look, we're trying to win. So he stated it perfectly.
I know they're trying to win.
I don't think the American people, I think you're wrong on that, Alex. As soon as you mention the kid and decoupling with that and deporting everybody, they're going to shy away. We want to own the issue. We're going to deport. We're going to go after criminals. And then he talked about, and we are going to crack down on employment here with Americans, and a lot of these people will self-deport. Can't you see that's the way not to get emotional? Some people will be. They're not going to go for you kicking out the parent and kid. I don't think. The polling doesn't indicate that. Majority want deportation. You start saying that, though, it's unnecessary. We're winning on this.
It's not unnecessary, because then when you're talking about health care,
yes,
and how they were acting like Trump's going to just get rid of Obamacare, and he doesn't have another plan, and yada, yada, yada. Then J.D. Vance, all he had to do is go right back to the migrants again and say, look, how much are we spending on health care for these illegal migrants? Then how much are we spending on health care for the anchor babies? If you want rent to go down and health care to be more affordable, all these people have got to go. It doesn't matter.
Thank you, Alex. Okay. All right, Alex, I got your point. Good call. I differ with you. We're winning on it. All right, so you can talk tough on this. We're going to deport, and we're going to start with criminals. I think Vance did that beautifully. You start talking about separating the families, and I don't know that the backing is quite there. This is an overwhelming issue. The thing that I regret on the whole immigration thing, and his name came up twice last night, Langford, that idiot Republican from Oklahoma. Oh, we got this border bill. It gives them cover. No, keep on saying we're going to deport them. That wins. We're going to start with the criminals. And a lot of them are going to self-deport because we're going to crack down in employment. That's the way to win on this. Now, down the road, issues about, all right, you got these people here illegally, but they got kids. What are we going to do? Down the road, let's win on this. It's an incremental game. And let's win first. And it's a winning issue. You go too far with this, and I'm not sure how it goes. We don't need to do that. He handled it perfectly. All right. There is might get this guy on, thinking about it. He's a Democrat. His name is Frank Burns. He's in Johnstown, which is a poor town, well known pretty much, Johnstown flood and all that. And he is the one running ads against the Republican because the Republican in Cambria County wanted to import Afghan refugees to take jobs in Johnstown. And he's seeking re-election in a district Trump won by 15 percentage points in a very competitive race by going after the Republican and saying, no, we shouldn't be replacing American workers in Johnstown with Afghan refugees. The Inquirer wrote about him. They seem to be appalled by the guy. I think it's amazing that this guy is a Democrat. And here is exactly the same problem again. You have business interests. Apparently, this woman is a business person there. And they would like to bring in refugees to these towns. And people there are struggling, having problems. And this guy Burns, the Democrat, is the one pointing that out. So it's not always just an ideological position. It's how you see this. Isn't it American workers first being undercut by this? All right, I got a little bit more. At 2:30 today, we're going to hear from Bill Hamilton, Teamsters. He was good enough to come on last week. We had quite a good time talking with him. And we asked him to come on because we're having trouble getting the longshoremen on. You should know the head of the longshoremen made $900,000 last year plus. He has a yacht. I'm looking at a picture of it. He just sold it. Drives a Bentley. So who's this guy to be telling us, I can't get any bananas, he's going to cripple us? Who's this guy with the working man? I'll give you the statistics. These are New Jersey, New York dock workers. How many do you think are making $150,000 a year plus? And how many are making $250,000? And they want the pay to go up, the people involved, to $69 an hour. America's starting to feel the impacts. I haven't been in a supermarket since Monday, I think, or Sunday. Are we going to see that, say, by tomorrow, Friday, where you're going to start to see fruits and things like that? And I don't see that Joe Biden is in any mood to go Taft-Hartley. Watch for this to start to become an issue. Biden, by the way, today says, no, we don't approve of Israel hitting Iran's nuclear sites. Why? Why don't we approve of that? All right? They're in a race, and they may be using this time to go nuclear. Once they get a nuclear weapon, the whole world changes, if they do. So 855-839-1210, that will get you on board. Now's a great time to call and visit your nearest Captain Chucky's. Let them handle your meal planning. The fan favorite, always remember the big one at Captain Chucky's. That is the Smith Island crab cake. Jumbo lump, and don't forget the mega colossal crab cakes, delicious. October's the time to stock up. Check out the variety of homemade soups, too. Remember we used to joke about the farfalle. And I think there was a Dan soup and a rose soup at one point. They're all there with Captain Chucky's. The homemade sides, desserts. Get a tray or two for your football viewing party or tailgate. They have several choices of breaded and unbreaded crab cakes. Literally a crab cake for everybody. Dessert, soup, sides, appetizers. Only the highest quality ingredients. Their Gulf shrimp is a huge hit. It's always wild caught, never farm raised. And my favorite, those delicious Dom rolls.
Farfalle.
Thank you very much.
Farfalle. Do not say farfalli, but rather farfalle.
I remember that guy. He was definitive. So get that farfalle. I don't know if they have the farfalle still at...
Do not say farfalle,
all right already.
But rather farfalle.
All right, say sauce. No, don't say that. Say gravy. So visit Captain Chucky's today. Go to WeLoveCrabCakes.com, WeLoveCrabCakes.com, headed to the shore, and go to CaptainChucky'sAtTheShore.com.
Weather sponsored by Robert Half.
A cold front approaching the Delaware Valley today will keep conditions mostly cloudy. A stray shower is possible mainly to the west with a high 71. Tonight, mostly cloudy skies continue with a low of around 60. And for Thursday, becoming partly sunny and warmer with a high 76.
9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring. Robert Half is here to help. Our recruiting professionals utilize an award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. At Robert Half, We know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
Hey, it's Rich Zeoli. You know, Cape May is absolutely gorgeous in the fall. If you have not been to Cape May in the fall, you are missing out. You should book a stay today at my happy place that I know will become your happy place, the Grand Hotel of Cape May, New Jersey. From September 29th through December 21st, the Grand is offering a fabulous fall midweek stay. Stay 2 nights, receive $100 in resort credits. Stay 3 nights, get $150 in resort credits. Stay 5 nights, get $200 in resort credits that can be used at Hemingway's for food and drink or at the gift shop. The Grand offers guest rooms, suites, and townhomes equipped with kitchenettes, and they have 2 huge heated pools, 1 outdoor, 1 indoor. The Grand is an amazing place for you and your spouse or the entire family. I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed. Always book direct with them for the best rates and to get those resort credits. Book your stay today. 800-257-8550. It's 800-257-8550 or grandhotelcapemay.com. My happy place. grandhotelcapemay.com.
The Crash Proof Retirement Show will air before and after Penn State football this Saturday. Tune in at 11 a.m., then again right after the game to learn how to create your own Crash Proof Retirement game plan.
Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, broadcasting from the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter.
Turning up and turning down, I'm turning in, I'm turning right, I'm turning Japanese, I think I'm turning Japanese, I really think so.
All right, somebody on Twitter, I'm not even going to, I've lost my page here, but says an acquired taste is pineapple on pizza.
It's pretty good.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Don't admit to that. That's a failure of the
Like, I wouldn't
producer's
seek it
test.
out and order it, but if it was sitting on a table, I
Yeah?
might take a slice.
Greg Stocker puts hungry producers after a grueling workout to become a producer, and there's pineapple on a pizza there. Whichever one goes for it, they're out. Get them out of here.
I wouldn't go for it per se, but I'm like Dan. Like if it's there,
yeah, why not?
With the ham,
Oh,
it is a good
goodness.
combo.
Oh, my
By
God.
itself, no.
Okay. All right, so I don't think that's going to win. Acquired taste, and it could be a person. I see some good. The chopsticks was an excellent one.
Marcus has a good one on Twitter.
Yes.
I think Maisie would concur with
Okay.
this one, being Quentin Tarantino films.
Yes, I would agree. I mean, I liked them in the beginning because I read a lot about them. Then that time we got them on by happens. Now that would be a film.
Like we just watched Pulp Fiction the other day, and
Yeah.
after the film, I turned to her. I go, "Oh, how great was that movie?" She goes, "It was okay."
Oh, that's an advantage. Ro would never watch. The violence alone, the
Yeah.
stuff that goes on is just
Well, I think
remarkable.
it's so like pro man that I got to show her Kill Bill, and I think she might change her opinion.
Yeah, that's
It's kinda like the female
absolutely.
answer to- yeah.
No, Tarantino definitely is an acquired taste for a lot of people. You really got to devote yourself to that. So not just food. Here's a great one. Well, Robert will get to in a minute. I like this one though because I have never acquired the taste for it. I don't dismiss it, but let's go to Mike in Northeast Philadelphia on Talk Radio 1210. Mike, thank you for the wait. Go ahead.
Dom, you had asked about the difference between Vance and Trump. I wanted to comment on that. But I'd like to give you a couple of bullet points about the debate that I wish the Republicans would really bring out. I think it would have been nice if Vance had expanded. First of all, you mentioned that bill, the tough border bill, the bipartisan. How bipartisan? 3 Republicans, I think, voted for it. And that bill would have guaranteed at least 1 million to 2 million illegal immigrants crossing the border every year.
To your point, and Byron Donalds put out 7 bullet points on this that he just spews out there, Mike. Republicans have to do more on that, but it's a killer. They're going to say bipartisan if it's only one dope like Langford with this, because they have nothing else to shield themselves with.
Exactly. The other thing, too, on the economy, you know that the Trump tax plan paid for itself, did not add to the deficit. The only way the deficit went up is they had record revenues with that plan, and there was record spending by the Democrats, in addition to which they talk about taxing the rich. I don't know if people know that about 80 to 90% of all income taxes collected are paid by the top 10% of earners. And you could fact check that.
It is. And you know what Vance did a good job that they ought to extend on to? Real pay, meaning versus inflation, versus the cost of living, how much it went up under Trump, to remind people about that. In broad terms, he tried. Trump didn't do good enough himself. We're not talking about how good the Trump years were versus the Biden years. We're just not doing enough comparison on that.
Yes. Oh, one other thing, too, and then I'll give you the difference between, Trump and Vance. When Walt said that they brought up the thing about the baby being born and then, deciding, well, Governor Northam of Virginia, the former governor, right, Democrat, he was on tape. I saw the tape twice. Him and an interviewer and a woman. And he says the baby will be put on a table and made comfortable.
He did say that.
It was cringeworthy. And then they'll decide, right? And Wall says, oh, that's been fact-checked. Fact-checked by who in that first debate? It was the moderator who said, that's not true.
Yeah,
Okay?
Exactly. And again, if we were going to fact-check anything there, CBS showed themselves again that Roe and I were fact-checking that just to make sure. And 8 babies were allowed to die in that manner. I think Vance was thinking he made his point. He didn't want to go overboard. He was on a roll. He could have gotten into it with them again on that point. Probably knew he was on the high ground, but he had already done it once, and I'm not sure, he was thinking it's a little too much. So what's the difference with Trump and Vance?
If you look at them, it's a really good compliment one to the other. People say Trump is emotional. No, he's passionate about the issues because of where we are right now after 4 years of this. And last night, what I saw with Vance, he was precise and he was detailed and calm. He was not rattled. And you look at these two guys in that debate last night, and if you ask yourself the question, who do you want to be a heartbeat away from the presidency? Well, anyway, I appreciate you taking
Thank you, Mike. Well, absolutely. I just wish Trump were more buttoned up on this, and you saw the opportunity how to go after the fact checker. Trump can do it in his own way. I wish Vance were a little bit more fire last night at times, but I get it. He was trying to take away the stigma the media has put on him. So maybe doing that and remaining calm and pointed on this stuff while animated, when he patted his heart, talked about abortion, talked about a friend of his, abusive relationship and abortion. And he said, Republicans were not trusted on this. We're going to do better. That's why Trump and I are moving forward on this. I thought that was all textbook. I don't feel sorry for Walls at all, but you could feel sorry for him of how bad it looked, bug-eyed, not knowing where he was going to. And they tried to redeem him at the end with what else but January 6th. That's where we're going to spend a lot of time. And they placed it right at the end to make that impression. But they couldn't bail Walls out last night, even a little bit. Let's go to Tom in the grocery store in Maple Shade. What's happening in the grocery store, Tom?
Hey, Dom, I know it's off your topic, but I pulled into Maple Shade BJ. Says, man, this is crowded for this kind of day, weekday. And then I'm halfway through because my brain doesn't work that well, and it hits me. It's the dock strike.
Yep.
And And I was talking to a couple of people who work there. Yeah, he said, we already restocked the water. I said, well, that doesn't come in over the, in the containers. He goes, oh, no, that's just, people are panicking. He said, and exactly what it is. It's just beginning. I mean, you imagine this thing goes on for 2-3 weeks?
Yes, it will be bad. And Biden, I don't think is going to cave on this when it comes to Taft-Hartley and doing anything about it. And Harris has to be dying seeing that. She wants him to do anything to kind of quell this. It's going to inflate prices, and stuff is not going to be there. And, Tom, what you experienced, what are we really into day 2 or 2.5 here?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, people are going to get staples. It's the French toast industrial complex thing here. It's like snows out there. Yeah.
It's crazy, yeah. If something really hit, the whole country be in bad shape. We're very vulnerable, is what I'm trying to say. Very vulnerable.
Thank you, Tom. Yeah, this is like a snow day, and everybody running for that, and rock salt and everything else. So the idea they're going to. No, I haven't stocked up. Well, I bought a few more bananas. I was thinking of that.
You're good on the bananas for a couple weeks, huh?
Yeah. Well, no. Now I'm almost out now, so I'm thinking.
Did you get the blueberries and grapes?
Oh yeah, the blueberries and grapes. I'm well.
Did you get the pomegranate tea?
Yes, right here. There you go. The pomegranate tea is.
How about what's become the new meme on our YouTube.com/@1210WPHT? Please go like and subscribe. They say these Pizzelle cookies that they see you eating during all these breaks.
You know what that was?
Is there anything more Italian for Dom Giordano than Pizzelles for a snack during the break?
Ro had picked up a whole bunch of them. She was sick. I was a bit under the weather last week, so there was nothing left. I was subsisting on them when I get in.
She's got a bunch of boxes of Pizzelle.
Yeah, that's right. This YouTube stuff is good, but I got to tell you, there's a lot.
You forget sometimes that you're on camera, right?
Yeah, that's on camera. I have to change around the Dom Dome tonight for that Zoom call with Linda Kearns and the volunteers, and I'm feeling a lot of pressure. Linda Kearns puts pressure on you.
Yeah, she does.
Don't talk about yourself. Don't talk about what happened in 2020. Don't talk about this. Don't talk about that. And give me 10 good minutes.
You're not allowed to talk about yourself, Tom. What are you going to do?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I might have to talk pancakes in that Bluebell Inn. It's on my mind right now. I can't get it out of there. All right. 855-83. I'm surprised she didn't recruit Riley Gaines to do that.
Yeah, right.
Since she's in town. All right, AT&T and Verizon Wireless, all you have to do is just push pound 1210. We may or may not have a Dan time. I see a great one here, though. Something that's an acquired taste.
We got a couple calls to knock off, so no Dan time today before our next guest, Scott, it too.
Oh, that's right. Scott Presler's got another update. Hey, this year, FanDuel, in partnership with Valley Forge Casino, is giving you a chance to win big every Thursday night with FanDuel Squares. It's the same Super Bowl Squares game you've always known, only better. That's because your numbers are not just randomly assigned. You get to pick them yourself. You can pick as many as you like. You get to see the odds beforehand, and you can bet them live during the game. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/Dom and bet on Squares. Plus, if you're new to FanDuel, you can get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 1210 WPHT. You have to be 21 plus and present in Pennsylvania. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, 1-800-GAMBLER.
Your weeknights are getting a whole lot better. With Jimmy Fallon, 7 to 10 p.m. starting Monday, October 7th.
Honestly, I do mean this. What an incredible honor to join this lineup because, the thing you guys do that matters to me, you guys know your listeners. You hang out with them, you meet them, you do events. That to me is amazing. That's why I got into radio. Is you want to be a part of the community. I'm always on tour doing live events. I want to be part of the community, which is a fancy way of me saying I got to get out of New York a lot because I owe a lot of people money. But the point is, I'll be there.
Jimmy Fallon, weeknights 7 to 10 p.m. starting October 7th on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Hey, did you hear? Wawa has classic hoagies for just $6.
Any classic hoagie?
Yeah, any classic hoagie.
What about the cheesesteak?
$6.
Meatball?
$6.
What about the Italian hoagie?
It's $6 for a classic. I shouldn't even have to ask, but what do you want for lunch?
Hoagies at Wawa, of course.
Right now, get any Wawa Classic Hoagie for $6.
gotta have a Wawa.
With so much uncertainty in the world today, you may find yourself wondering, is now even the right time to retire?
So many people are waiting, and those folks are going to be waiting a really long time, I hate to say, because there's no perfect time. The market is always unpredictable and volatile.
Fortunately, Jim Cipriotti has been helping get people to, through, and beyond retirement for over 25 years. And each week, he wants to help give you that freedom to retire. Listen to Freedom to Retire with Jim Cipriotti, Saturday mornings at 9 and Sunday afternoons at 5 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Honey, I'm going to Wawa for dinner.
Okay, but Ben wants pizza.
Yep.
And Nick wants a burger and fries.
Right.
Oh, and the twins, they won't touch anything except for mac and cheese.
Exactly. Wawa has something for everyone for dinner, so I only have to make one stop to make everyone happy. So, what do you want?
Well, if you're going to Wawa, I have to have a hoagie.
From burgers to hoagies and everything in between, Wawa has dinner for everyone.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. When you use Angie for your home projects, you know all your jobs will be done well. Roof repair? Done well. Kitchen sink install? Done well. Deck upgrades? Done well. Electrical upgrade? Done well. Angie's been connecting homeowners with skilled pros for nearly 30 years, so we know the difference between done and done well. Hire high-quality, certified pros at Angie.com.
Hey, Percy, we know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Remember to take us anywhere with the free Odyssey app.
All right, Tom Giordano show. Oh, man, tisk tisk. Somebody doesn't want me to keep repeating what O'Reilly told us, reporting, talking with the Trump campaign, not doing another debate. They think they have the momentum for a win, internal polling. I think it's fine to repeat that. I mean, it's speculation, but I think O'Reilly's plugged in with them, and I think that may be the way they're feeling. So I get it, the hazards of doing anything here. It's going to be interesting to see if the Trump campaign pulls back even more from other things. The 60 Minutes thing, I'm kind of in agreement based upon the ground rules not to do that one. All right, so 855-839-1210. At 2:30, we're going to talk with Bill Hamilton. We're having trouble getting the longshoreman on. He's a Teamster guy here. We had him on last week. Listen to these figures. They're asking for a 77% pay increase over 6 years. At the Port of New York, dock workers, more than half of 3,726 dock workers in the Port of New York and New Jersey earned more than $150,000 last year. 1 in 5 made over $250,000. So a 77% increase on that, you'll be having people over the course of time making what, about $400,000 on the docks? The thing I'm interested in talking to the Teamster guy about is automation, though. Tucker Carlson was on to something before, he was kicked off Fox. He talked about automation a lot. It's a coming problem for a lot of jobs. We see this happening, even driverless cars. And I realize the necessity or the temptation of more and more automation. But the bottom line is you have a lot of people, where are they going to go to work? What are they going to do? And with AI, I think it's going to intensify it. 855-839-1210. That's how you get in. All right, Mike in Fort Washington's next on Talk Radio 1210. Hey, Mike, good afternoon.
Hi, Dom. How you doing?
Good.
So I got
my mail-in ballot pack this year, first time.
Okay.
And then I heard a story yesterday about the envelopes being pre-sealed, and that's exactly what happened to me. So inside your official ballot return envelope looked like it was machine sealed. So I brought it up to a friend of mine, and then we noticed that the privacy envelope is also sealed as well. So I called Montgomery County Board of Elections this morning to get, some details, and they said, yes, it's humidity or whatever, and that you're allowed to cleanly open both envelopes, put your ballot in there, and then seal it back up with tape and submit it that way.
How do you feel about that, Mike?
Highly...
Yeah, for the humidity thing, I'm still not buying that. The guy we had on, the commissioner, with the rain on some of them, and I guess you would see that, but humidity really in September?
And here's the other thing. When I got this, we were just coming out of 2 months worth of drought. So There wasn't a drop of water in the air, on the ground, anywhere. And the other thing is, when have you ever opened up your Pico bill or your Verizon bill and had that return envelope pre-sealed like that?
No.
So they're my questions. And one other question or statement, I guess. So what I'm going to do, what I was told I can do, and anybody can do, is go ahead, fill out your ballot, and submit it in person. Polls open up, I believe, in most districts on Friday.
Now, Mike, let me ask you, what do you think about that? I had people complaining yesterday on Twitter and otherwise, saying this is why I'm not doing mail-in balloting. Now we have to go to more trouble. And my answer was, we want to win. Mail-in balloting, despite this nonsense, is the way to go. It's the only way. We will not win this election. I've seen the figures. We're only up about 1.8 on the Republican side so far over 2020. We got to at least get up 5% better than we did in 2020 to win.
We got to keep up. Yeah, I mean, I always voted in person. I swore I would never vote by mail, but I wanted to bank my vote. I just want it done, Mike, and in and count it.
That's good for you, Mike. That's exactly, and despite this little glitch here, that's exactly the way to go. Thank you, Mike, very much. Look, Linda Kearns will be back on tomorrow. She's got some stuff around this and a couple of other things. You heard the commissioner today. We got some stuff from him in Philadelphia. It's at the state level. The Secretary of State and Josh Shapiro, it's going to be very difficult to imagine that within 24 hours we're going to know how Pennsylvania voted. I'd set the over and under. Well, it took till Saturday the last time, but they have better machinery. They have more knowledge. They have teams that are supposed to work around the clock. So you mean to say we can't say 24 hours we should know what the vote is in Pennsylvania? It was Saturday the last time, the Saturday after the Tuesday election. This time, could it be Thursday at least? We'll see. And it's all going to come down to Pennsylvania. I don't see it any other way. All right, Scott Presler got a lot to report. He's next. We got Dom's Money Melody, and then we have the Teamster guy. I'm glad he's coming on. You know, he's in a tough position. I'm glad he's willing to tell us how in the world do you defend the longshoremen and what they're asking for in this, particularly those that are being paid $250,000 a year. Wow. What do they get in Philadelphia? 855-839-1210.
This is Larry Steinitz with Investor Schooling. Do you know when the best time to buy investment properties is? It's now. It's always now. You just need to learn how to buy them correctly. Go to investorschooling.com and sign up for a complimentary class this Thursday night and learn how to buy investment properties and make money every time. That's right. That's what we teach. We teach how to buy investment properties and make money every time. Go to investorschooling.com and RSVP right now. Take a class this Thursday night at 7 o'clock. That's investorschooling.com. This is Larry Steinitz with Investor Schooling. Don't go through life ignorant about how to become a millionaire. Learn how to invest in real estate, the stock market, precious metals, and learn from an expert. At Investor Schooling, we teach these things and more. We only provide education, and we will teach you how to leverage real estate, how to leverage the stock market, and how to leverage precious metals to make more money than you've ever made before. Go to investorschooling.com and take a complimentary class this Thursday. We will see you there. Investorschooling.com. That's investorschooling.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Dr. Marty Makari. First of all, I got to tell you off the record, my kids have lice. Any advice?
There is a good protocol for lice, but it's a lot more common than people think.
So I'm not going to die or anything, right?
You're going to live.
He's a world-renowned surgeon at Johns Hopkins, and you're wasting his time talking about lice.
That seems like the most apt thing to ask a professor of medicine.
Exactly. I loved his answer. He's like, yeah, it's really common.
Like, shut up. Why are you asking me this? My time is valuable.
Rich Zioli, weekday afternoons, 3 to 7. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and on the free Odyssey app. On Philadelphia's Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. It's Dom time. Now, Dom Giordano.
All right, it is Dom time, 855-839-1210. Dom's Money Melody coming up. You got the side question. National Coffee Day was just the other day. An acquired taste, a person, a place, or a thing. Well, he's more than an acquired taste. It was easy. Remember when he started out? I don't know how many years ago that was. We're going to do this big cleanup. We're going to pick up garbage and trash in tough places in Philadelphia. Who is this Scott Presler guy? I'm thinking, what the heck's going on here? And people flocked to it. Maybe not right in the beginning, but after a couple times they did. And then he turned to voter registration and checking on the system, shall we say. And he has become a phenom. Every day that goes by, it gets greater. Scott Presler joins us for an update on what's happening here in Pennsylvania. Scott, welcome back. Scott, when was the point you shifted from the cleanup to the voter registration?
Well, thank you for having me back. You know, that's what people really don't know is I've always done voter registration. My first job was helping to elect Governor Greg Abbott in 2014. It just wasn't until the cleanups that, I hit mainstream media. And then people were like, oh, he also does voter registration. And yeah. And I just want people to know that, no, I have been focused on registering voters for the last decade of my life. This is nothing new. And I think we're finally seeing the fruit of our resolve.
So, Scott, what do you have to report? What's the latest today?
Actually, we have a lot of news to cover today. So after constant pressure yesterday on the Pennsylvania Department of State, they finally released the voter registration data at like 4:30 p.m. And by the way, it's never that late. It's always 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. So in the last 7 days, the Democrats had a net loss of over 5,000 voters. The Democrats only picked up 7,000 voters, while Republicans picked up 12,000. This is the third week in a row since the Taylor Swift endorsement of Kamala that Republicans have out-registered the Democrats statewide by over 4,000 every single week. And furthermore, Luzerne County, the county that still has a backlog of thousands of voter registration applications, thousands of mail-in ballot request applications, they went from plus 83 Republicans to now plus 410. So our efforts in Luzerne County are continuing to pick up steam, and I want to give a special shout out to Bucks County. This year we have flipped Bucks, we have flipped Luzerne, and whereas 4 years ago the Democrats had 15,000 more registered Democrats in Bucks County, we now have 2,500 more registered Republicans than Democrats in Bucks County.
It's shocking. And you have a nice touch on Twitter with Luzerne County saying, get busy processing this. Why are you putting those boulders in front of your headquarters?
Yeah, so the manager for Luzerne County for election security has put boulders. Luzerne County, your money is going to boulders for election security. And so I wrote them and said, okay, I don't know what a boulder is going to do, but how about some more staff?
Yeah.
I mean, the mismanagement going on is truly incredible to watch.
Hey, Scott, report here to something that's happening that you have gone into neighborhoods like this. I first met you in person in Harrogate, bordering on Kensington. Inquire today in Deep Blue Philly, working class voters, black, Latino, white, are shifting toward Republicans. And they say when you get to the poorest subsets of neighborhoods, that's where the increase is the greatest.
Yes, we're seeing this. And you know what? I want to give a shout out. There's a woman named Tatiana who is working for the Trump team in Kensington, of all places. And she has told me anecdotally, she goes, Scott, entire Hispanic working class neighborhoods are shifting to Republican in Philly. And she told me that months ago. And seeing that today from the Inquirer shows me that all of the work that the PAGOP, Trump Force 47, Early Vote Action, all of us working together, we truly are changing the game, even in blue areas like Philly. But furthermore, it shows me something more important. The Democrats have become the elite. The Democrats are the party of the rich. The Republican Party is the party of union workers and working class Americans. And we are there for the forgotten American people that are just struggling to get by. And I think this Inquirer story really shows the change that's occurring.
Yeah, I knew about in South Philly. You know about that, too. There are certain Trump zones in South Philly. But this is in the heart of desperation that people are moving toward this. And your efforts to get them registered across the state. Scott, do you have any knowledge? There's a Democrat now, Frank Burns, in Johnstown running against the Republican because the Republican is a business type bringing in Afghan refugees, he says, to take away jobs from natives of Johnstown, which is a pretty desperate place.
Yeah, I'm not aware of that story. I do know in Charleroi, where they have shut down a factory that's, shutting down 300 Washington County jobs, and that we're bringing in all of these immigrants. Look, at the end of the day, this is America first. This is the people of Pennsylvania. I don't care what color you are, what creed you are, whatever. If you are here in America and you're a citizen in Pennsylvania right now, my allegiance is to you, that you, your family, you should be the priority, period. And I'm not going to apologize for that, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I think that's why we're seeing so many people turn to the Republican Party, because it's evident. Kamala and the Democrats are going to prioritize the rest of the globe. The Republican Party is going to prioritize you, the American citizen. But there is one breaking story that I really want to cover briefly, Don. President Trump is coming to Butler for his triumphant return at the site of the assassination attempt at the farm show in Butler County, Pennsylvania. Now, get this. Tell me if you think this is a coincidence or not, Dom and Dan, that the Pennsylvania voter registration application for online by the Pennsylvania Department of State, that website is undergoing maintenance and will be unavailable for voter registration on Saturday, October 5th from 6 p.m. Oh, the rally starts at 5 p.m. until 12 a.m. that day. Do you guys think it's a little interesting that they would choose that day of all days to do site maintenance for voter registration when all the eyes across the globe are going to be on Butler County, Pennsylvania? I don't know, but it's on social media.
I am not the conspiracy guy usually.
Oh, I am, man.
Dan,
I smell fishiness here.
Take that bib off. You can't have that saliva drip on.
Wow, yeah.
But Scott,
of all the days, Dom, you don't think they could have chosen any other day than the time the guy returns to the site of his assassination attempt?
They ought to be doing it at 2 a.m. to 6 p.m. or 6 a.m. on Sunday morning.
Exactly. Why not? Yeah.
All right, well, Scott, we're on this because maybe we can get people to push back and say, no, you can't do it at that point. Explain to listeners why that's critical and what you do. And Butler's probably going to have 20,000 people there, I would assume.
Oh, it's going to be 80,000 people. This is objectively an iconic moment in history that a president who was shot in his ear, who survived an assassination attempt, is returning to the very place that he almost died, and he's returning triumphantly to be there for the people that he hopes to represent and win this November. That is so iconic and epic, and this is, I want to be clear, this is election interference. The Department of State is engaging in election interference by scheduling this maintenance on Saturday the 5th during this iconic rally that is going to get attention from around the globe. And if Governor Shapiro wants the automatic voter registration and wants everybody to get registered to vote, then I'm certain that they would have no problem by scheduling the maintenance for a time that people probably are going to be less likely to use the website between the hours of maybe 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. I think that's a pretty reasonable thing to ask.
What's your goal now with the staff of 40 and everybody else? And you're right, something this iconic and how well known you are. How many people do you think you can register there at Butler? And Scott, I want to underline for listeners, because you've made this point, you have all these people that are our voters and they donate. They go to rallies, and it's shocking. And yet they're either not registered or they don't end up voting. It's incredible.
Yes, well, real quickly, let's touch on some of these groups for a second. 2020 was decided by 80,000 votes, right?
Right.
We have 80,000 truckers in Pennsylvania alone. A lot of truckers are driving on Election Day. We get them mail-in ballots, they vote, we win. Our beautiful Amish, we have 90,000 of them. Governor Shapiro and the Democrats are waging a war on religious freedom, small businesses, dairy, raw milk, school choice, you name it. We are courting the Amish vote in a way that hasn't been seen before. We engage that community, we win. We have 800,000 veterans, and we saw on stage last night during the vice presidential debate that Tim Walz admitted to his stolen valor, admitted on national television that he lied. He called him a misspoke, but we all know that means he lied. And so our veterans don't take kindly to stolen valor. And last, we have 930,000 hunters in Pennsylvania. 30% of hunters are not registered to vote. Tim Walz, the man running to become your vice president, just said guns are the problem. He said that. Guns are the problem. Kamala and the Democrats will come after our Second Amendment rights and after our hunting rights. And if you're a hunter, if you're a firearm owner, then you must register to vote at your current address. Go to vote.pa.gov and do that today, because you can't do it on October 5th because the Department of State doesn't want you to register during that day. But my goal, Dom and Dan, is I'm setting a goal of having 500 new registered voters during that Butler rally, which will be 1/160th of what we need in just one day to win those 80,000 votes that 2020 was decided by. Each one of these rallies is consequential. Our team will be there. And one last announcement. We now have 50 paid staffers across Pennsylvania with early vote action.
Wait a minute. We just talked with you 30
rolling.
minutes ago. It was 40. What the heck's happening here?
No, babe. We got 50. We got 50. Listen, they cannot stop this train. After last night, after seeing J.D. Vance show why President Trump chose him, seeing the level that he was be able to articulate a positive vision, that he was calm, that he was an America First agenda. I mean, people were so fired up. My phone has been blowing up nonstop, and we now have 50 paid staffers at earlyvoteaction.com.
Earlyvoteaction.com. Scott, keep us in the loop. We're going to see. I know Al Schmidt is dodging me on the set of a local TV things. We were all glad-handing and bro-hugging and everything else. I don't know why he won't come on. I got Henry and Dan on it. Maybe we've got to put Presler on this.
I'd love the opportunity. Thank you, gentlemen.
Nice
as always.
Oh, my God. 500 in one fell swoop. Yeah, that is kind of curious when the Butler rally, which will be iconic. Tell me if you're going to that. That is a far piece from here. What is it, 300 miles? I'd have to calculate. I think Pittsburgh is, 400 away? If people are going to that, this is from our area.
5 hours, 12 minutes, apparently.
5 hours, 12 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's a long drive.
I think the 1210 copter should be deployed for this. All right. 855-839-1210.
You're paying for that, right?
Yeah. And we're not even, Dan, we're not even getting a response from the great Al Schmidt, right?
We got one last week that said he was unavailable. I'll circle back.
All right. Literally, since they're doing maintenance at midnight on a Saturday, I'll be sitting at home in the Dome, and I can tape the interview right there, Al. We got to ask these Republicans, are they going to say something about this? Where are they? Why does maintenance have to be done 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. on Saturday night, October 5th? Well, we don't have guys that want to come in. Well, what do companies do that really need to be up and running? Don't they do that at 2 o'clock in the morning? I'm the anti-conspiracy guy. Dan balances this out by being an extreme conspiracy person.
Do we land on the moon, Dom?
But this, asked Al Schmidt that, yeah. This smacks of, we're going to cut this down. We don't like this. Let's do the maintenance end. What kind of maintenance do they need to be doing? 855-839-1210. You get in. Hit us on the side question. But right now, it is time for...
Uh-oh. Where's my...
It is time for...
There it is.
It's Dom's Money Melody.
All the money gone.
All right. You win today. You're getting a pair of tickets to a night on the Bayou celebrating Creedence Clearwater Revival on October 11th at the Zlock Performing Arts Center. We love that spot. We've done speaker series there, Rich and I. It's on the campus of Bucks County Community College. Dan, what's the backstory?
Yeah, Dom, today we're talking about acquired tastes. And for the past 2 hours, Henry and I have been bouncing around. Who are we going to do? Frank Zappa was one of the answers at one point. I was going to do Rush. But we settled on this 90s singer that Henry believes is an acquired taste. I've liked her for a long time, but Grammy Award winner, big name here, doing what might be. I'm playing it today because yesterday we did Billy Corgan covering a song, and it was terrible. And it kind of almost compared to Taylor Swift's worst cover of all time, played on Money Melody. This might be up there too. We're looking for the cover artist today, Dom. Take a listen, covering Fergie. Here you go.
What you gonna do with all that junk inside your trunk? Come on, get you drunk, get you
covering Fergie. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Oh God.
Yeah.
What you gonna
Soon they'll be covering Borowski.
You know what? I said it's Fergie. This was when she was still at the Black Eyed Peas, I think. So they're actually covering the Black Eyed Peas here, yeah. Looking for the cover artist today, Dom. Grammy Award winner, really big name that Henry thinks is an acquired taste.
Yes.
Particularly because of some of the vocal stylings that she pulls out in some of her songs.
Yeah, and also sometimes they just can't get into her songs, so I'm not in that mood.
There's always a mood for this person in my opinion.
All right, 855-839-1210. Hit us with that. You're off to the Zlock. and we'll get your answer to the side question. Nobody better than Scott Presler. This Inquirer article at 2:30, we'll get into it with Bill Hamilton, the head of the Teamsters, really, across much of Pennsylvania, and talk about the longshoremen. Part of me says this is going to be bad for people, but politically, how does it play out? Biden, I'm not going to do anything. I side with the union. Okay. All that straight ahead on Talk Radio 1210.
My home, my home, my home, my home.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-924-7415. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-924-7415. 800-924-7415. 800-924-7415.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
About 30 Philly high school students are back home after getting stranded on a camping trip to North Carolina because of the hurricane. Philly police say they'll try to combat illegal car meetups by using drones to catch suspects. And the SS United States on the Delaware could soon be sunk off the Florida Gulf Coast.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
I'm John Oran, Puck's sports correspondent, and I have a new podcast called The Varsity, where I will take you inside the executive suites and owners' boxes that run the entire sports business. Twice a week, I will bring on the smartest people I know to break down the hottest topics in sports media and give you a window into the inside conversations that are happening throughout sports media. So be sure to follow and listen to the Varsity Podcast, available now on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Free speech lives here on Odyssey's #1 talk station. Talk Radio 1210. 1210 WPHT.
It's Dom Money Melody.
Where has all the money gone?
Show me the money.
That is exactly right. All right, let's hear the tune, Dan, and we're looking for the cover artist.
Dolce and Gabbana, Fendi and Bandana, Karen, they be sharing all their money, got me wearing.
It might be as bad as Taylor Swift.
I kind of like the Taylor Swift. It's an acquired taste, hearing her do that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You've turned the corner on Taylor
Just
Swift.
picturing her doing that with the
yourself.
great Eminem. I wonder what Eminem thinks about it. Let's go to John in Collegeville. All right, John, who's covering that song?
That was pretty bad, but it sounds like Alanis Morissette.
Oh, boy, that is great work there. My God.
It's like
You know, there should be, Dan, a quiz show on TV, who's covering that song.
Yeah.
And then they bring out the person who covered it, something like that.
Oh, I like this idea,
It's
yeah.
got a concept. Yeah.
Sounds like a new Fox show after Masked Singer. Yeah, who covered it?
Oh, God. Yes. Wasn't Rudy in there one time?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, and Ken
Oh,
John
my
walked
gosh.
off.
Oh, God.
Wait, isn't Masked Singer kind of who covered it?
Well, I
himself?
guess, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it is in its own
But I like
way.
the more direct shot. You bring in a contestant, sit them down like what's that song or whatever they do where they play the first couple of notes, but instead do cover songs. I like it.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but Alanis Morissette, she won the 1996 Grammy Award for Album of the Year. Huge artist, one of the Rolling Stones 500 greatest artists or songs of albums of all time. She's on all those lists, Tom. But Henry thinks she's an acquired taste.
Yeah, you just played the big radio hit. Way to dig deep here.
All right, let's go to Robert in Bensalem, who's not an acquired taste. Hey, Robert, good afternoon.
Hey, Dom, Dan, it's good to talk to you guys today. You asked the difference between Trump and Vance, and I think the best answer is Trump is a macro guy, and Vance is a micro guy. Trump's the visionary. Vance appears to be the technician, and they're always going to do better in a debate. And I really like his stock rising, J.D. Vance. I think he's impressed me more than I thought he would. I'll leave it at that.
That's a good point. But you know what? Trump is a guy that gets branding, gets the nugget. He can't spew out in a debate a few nuggets in addition to the macro or go after David Muir. I just think that was a big lost opportunity. That would have been a great moment for him.
I think he wanted to, but he would. I think his handlers, told him please don't, because they didn't want to see him get really angry or anything like that. But I think Vance is a lot better, and I really think Vance is. I think the biggest loser last night was Kamala, because Vance was pounding her and Waltz did nothing to defend her.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That was the smartest thing, Robert, that we talked about. It's not about beating up on Walz. He's just there as a human vehicle. It's attaching Harris to all this stuff.
Right. But my answer to the side question is jazz. And I think it's something that happens as we get older, because there's very few young jazz fans. But my favorite is Stanley Jordan. And if you don't know who that is, if you saw the movie Blind Date with Bruce Willis, early in the date when they were in the sound studio, the guy that was recording was Stanley Jordan. Played 6 instruments, wrote. He was an amazingly talented guy. And jazz is the perfect music to play when you're getting together with friends and you're doing something, because it doesn't intrude on what you're doing, but it sounds really good in the background.
I fully endorse this answer from you, Robert, because I don't know what it was, but it was like right when I turned 30, it's Alexa, play jazz. Every time I get home making dinner, jazz is in the background, and I love it. John Coltrane's become one of my favorite artists. I never cared about John Coltrane when I was younger, but you're right. Completely acquired taste there.
Good stuff, Robert. I have to admit, acquiring for that, I guess I haven't given it enough time. No, I
think one that you could relate to would be, it took you, I don't know, because you're an Italian growing up in South Philly, but Frank Sinatra, as a young kid, you're not a huge Sinatra fan. It's kind of jazzy standards, right?
Yeah, I guess there's some.
And then as you get older, you respect and appreciate what Sinatra
exactly.
does.
Well,
even though all his music sound the same.
Yeah, it's the voice, though. I can tell the quality of the voice. It is different. It's noticeable. Then there's My Way, and nobody should be allowed to sing it other than Frank. All right, 855-839-1210. You get on board. Coming up momentarily, we're going to talk with the head of the Teamsters. Scott and I were talking about this article in Deep Blue Philly, the Inquirer now. Working class voters are shifting toward Republicans. A lot of them are Hispanic, but they go into the poorer the area gets, the more that are saying, what the heck? Inflation. They're seeing what it's doing to them. Now, with this strike with longshoremen, and Biden's on record, he's got nothing to lose in this. He wants his cred to be the working class hero, the union working class hero. He's going to stick with the longshoremen. And the demands are preposterous, at least what they're saying now. And what they're making is hard to believe, at least in New York and Jersey. I gave you the stats. So we're going to ask the head of the Teamsters about this and how does that shake out. I just saw a poll out, though, indicating that in the Cook political survey, which has bias, that Trump loses advantage over Harris on inflation. The tariff policy is unpopular in swing states. I'll say this about it. I don't believe that. I think that Trump, for a Republican, gained greatly, if you remember, in 2016. We're not going to do unending wars, and we're going to go after these American businesses that are playing a game of getting the American brand and moving to Mexico and playing this game. So would people really say, I trust Kamala Harris more on inflation? They're buying the argument that Trump is going to cause bigger inflation with tariffs. No, he's not. They'll be limited. It's mainly a tool to keep American businesses in line and to try to keep the Chinese in line a bit. If we had widespread tariffs, I mean, really all over the place, then yeah, that would be a problem. This is going to be very limited. It's punitive. And that's exactly what we ought to be doing in limited circumstances. I'll see what the head of the Teamsters thinks coming up about tariffs, automation, but mainly this strike and this Inquirer article, which says, again, Inquire, the deeper you go into desperate neighborhoods in Philadelphia, the more you're seeing people turn to the Republican Party. And think about this. I don't even know how that's happening, given how bad the Republican Party is in Philadelphia. They might be the worst in any city in America that I know of. Vince, you can come on. Vince Fennerty, get out of that bar over there in Bridesburg or wherever the heck it is. Pick up a phone. Tell me otherwise. Are they out there? Are they out there mining this breakthrough by Donald Trump? No, they're not. And yet it's still happening. All right, phone lines are 855.
And just to your point, to underline the great interview you had with Scott, too, Beach Chair says over on Twitter, you can always at DomShow1210, tweet the show. I said this before, I followed Scott for years pre-Twitter ownership when Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, when they owe a huge debt to Scott Presler, not the PA GOP, definitely not the GOP. He should have been recognized with the primetime slot at the convention.
Absolutely. You know, I don't know what's going on there. We went through that before, why they didn't embrace him even more. I get it. But, Dan, we got to get on these Republicans. I don't know which Republican representative we can get fired up to say, you mean to say you guys are not going to demand to the media to say, isn't it curious that they want to do this maintenance in the middle of the election of our lifetime, in the epicenter of the election, during the very time that Trump will be speaking in Butler with Scott Presler and others there? Can this not be done at some other time, like midnight on Friday night or midnight on Saturday night? Why does it have to be during that time? If you want us to buy into the election, and we got to get past not buying into this at some point, then help us out here and don't do things that are suspicious. Pretty simple, isn't it? All right, Bill Hamilton straight ahead on Talk Radio 1210.
Weather sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
A cold front approaching the Delaware Valley today will keep conditions mostly cloudy. A stray shower is possible mainly to the west with a high 71. Tonight, mostly cloudy skies continue with a low of around 60. And for Thursday, becoming partly sunny and warmer with a high 76.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Last year, more clients hired Morgan & Morgan than ever before. We now have more offices, more staff, and more lawyers than any other injury firm in the world, protecting America, fighting for you.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Does your broker say, we're different, we're a fiduciary, we only make money when you make money? A fiduciary duty puts the investing consumer first before the self-serving interests of the licensed professional. So the reality is, no broker is different. They all collect fees, even when you lose money. Does that sound like a fiduciary responsibility to you? Crash Proof Retirement is the only firm in the nation to record all financial meetings, providing a legally binding guarantee of Crash Proof Retirement's fiduciary responsibility to our investing clients.
Rob Lukens, Birdsboro, Pennsylvania. We saw our portfolio grow 15%. The interest we made through Crash Proof's investments, we keep it. I've actually never seen a fee in my life with Crash Proof. Never, ever in my life have I ever had that with a broker. Pick the phone up, call. It's simple.
Schedule an appointment or register for our next event at Spring Mill Country Club on October 16th, 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
When was the last time you watched your home movies?
Disasters strike unexpectedly. Every year, American families lose the one thing they'd run back into a burning building for, their family's memories. Hi, I'm Nick.
And I'm Adam. We started Legacy Box to help save your family's most important recorded moments so you don't have to worry.
Load Legacy Box with your old movies, film reels, and shoeboxes of photos.
We work our digitizing magic, converting those memories right to the cloud so they're safe and accessible forever.
It's fast, we always send your originals back, and it's done right here in the USA.
Over 1 million families have trusted Legacy Box. Better Homes and Garden, Real Simple, and Inc. magazine are all talking about Legacy Box.
New York Times columnist David Pogue says, have them digitized. I wish I'd done it sooner. Take action. Save your family's memories today with Legacy Box.
Go to legacybox.com/value to get an incredible 50% off your Legacy Box. That's legacybox.com/value for 50% off while supplies last. legacybox.com/value.
I am Judith Krupnick, president of Cherry Hill Volvo. As the store's owner, I want our clients treated with respect. I want our employees to have extensive product knowledge and be genuinely engaged with our clients. Our pricing is competitive, but our client attention is second to none. When considering a new car, consider Cherry Hill Volvo. Contact me directly. Relationships really do matter to us.
Pastor Brad Lacey here, First Baptist Church, Conshohocken. Join us Saturdays for the great message and be blessed. 5 a.m. right here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Broadcasting live from the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and on the free Odyssey app.
All right, big issues, big guests, and we're coming to your call. Bill Hamilton came on the show last week. He is the president of the Pennsylvania Conference of Teamsters, representing 96,000 Teamsters in the Pennsylvania area. President, busy guy, the Joint Council 53, Eastern Pennsylvania, South Jersey. President of the storied Local 107 in Philadelphia, and International Eastern Regional Vice President since 2008.
How does he do so much?
Yes. It's a lot of titles. Only one
hats.
VP thing in here, and I called him the VP on Inside Story. I should have said, I think I said president.
Yeah,
I said
it
the
should be
leader of the
president, yeah.
Teamsters. I didn't have a card in front of me, Bill. So we had him on because of the Teamsters and this whole idea of Trump and the breakthrough, the polling even in his survey here in Pennsylvania. Wanted to get somebody on. The longshoremen are allergic to Henry's entreaties to come on. Hey, Bill, welcome back to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Dom. I appreciate it.
Well, look, I realize the overall, we're taking macro since you're not the president of the longshoremen. But, Bill, some of the wages, particularly in New Jersey and New York that I've read out, I'm not saying that's all, to be asking for 77% over 6 years, and the tone of the head of the union will cripple you. Tell me what your thoughts are. How effective is this?
Well, Dom, I obviously don't speak for the ILA, but
Right.
we support their efforts. And I think that the public and what's been fashioned, and to be honest with you, during negotiations, when I'm actively in negotiations, I won't come on and make comments until we're done the deal either. So I don't blame them for not publicly making comments or telling their side of the story. But I can assure you that this was done in a just and righteous way because they announced 2 weeks ago they were going to do this. They didn't just pull the plug at the last minute and take these people on strike. And we support their efforts because a lot of the things that are being said about wages and benefits and that are some of that may be true. I can't speak on the exact content of it. But I can tell you one thing, the AI part of it is something that's real and affects all workers, Teamsters and ILA people.
Okay, let's talk about that because I don't know if it surprises you or not. I am deeply concerned about automation and a lot of jobs. Tucker Carlson, of all people, was the champion of saying, this is one of the real issues we're going to face. But, you know, Bill, I don't know that their kids, for example, are going to go into the same profession or they're going to be able to stretch this out for the next 20 years. These businesses have to use a certain amount of automation.
I don't disagree with you, Dom, but when it comes to automation and safety, they're two separate items. And I think you can have AI and you can have portions of your workforce affected by AI, but when it comes to operating cranes and trucks and wireless and autonomous vehicles, that creates safety concerns. I mean, they're proposing national trucking automated tractor trailers on the road. That's a killer. And cranes without operators, who would want to work on the ground with an AI operated crane while you got people unloading and loading underneath you? There's a safety issue here that's not being addressed, and that's a big concern to workers in a dangerous business.
I would agree with you on that. Now, Newsom just vetoed a bill in California. Don't know if you saw it, that would help get AI under control. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think Newsom's an idiot for doing it.
Good. Well, good. I'm going to get you on record on that. Look, this automation thing, particularly on loading docks and the like, and it's a curse of the. I am the biggest opponent of the driverless car and driverless huge trucks on the highways. That's got to be bipartisan to stop that. I'm never going to be believing that's okay.
And you're absolutely right, Dom. And I think the longshoremen's concerns are not just wages and benefits. They see long-term, they see a lack of commitment from the employer side to address some of these issues prior to entering a contract. Once you enter a contract for the next 3 to 5 years, whatever they negotiate, you're locked in without being able to talk about it. And this stuff is coming at us way too quick to ignore. So it has to be addressed prior to entering into an agreement so they have an avenue to address, especially the safety issues that it's going to concern.
Now, when you and I talked the last time, we talked too about your membership, and I hope you heard on Inside Story I gave you a shout-out because we were so glad you were willing to come on. I said we sparred on some of it. But the facts are, I think, that Trump has broken through. We could argue over how much. I don't know if you saw the Inquirer, of all places today, talking about working-class voters across the board, mainly Latino, Bill, that are going to the Republican Party. And for my money, the Republican Party leadership in Philadelphia, to put it analytically, suck. So they're not doing it. There's a movement here, Bill, that's moving away from the Democrat safety net.
I didn't see the article, Dom. I was on a train, actually, but it is concerning. It is concerning as a Democrat. It concerns me that a large portion of our minority community is somehow, not seeing that the working people of the world, not everybody should be Democrat. I agree. I'm very bipartisan when it comes to labor and people that support us. So it is concerning and something that the Democrats need to address.
Bill, one other area, too. Trump and the way that he talks about tariffs. Now, he could be more precise because it may be hurting a bit. Are you a fan of, let's say, tariffs? Maybe they're more of a threat than actually being out there, like John Deere. You're not going to be John Deere America and then go over the line in Mexico and then keep that brand going here. That's not good for America, not good for workers. What do you think of the use of tariffs?
Well, I think the use of tariffs as a weapon is one thing. The use of tariffs to support the economy is something completely different. If you're going to threaten a company that they take their stuff overseas, then you're going to tax it if they come back because they're actually moving American jobs out. That's a different commodity than just putting tariffs on imports from certain countries because that raises the prices of consumer goods and products here. So I think there's a line to be drawn where some tariffs are good, especially when it can be used as a weapon to prevent jobs from leaving America. But tariffs generally on everything, just as a mass production of, a threat, I don't think that's a good idea.
All right, but I would argue, Bill, I'd make an exception. I agree with what you said here. With China, we got into such a bad position, and that's bipartisan, although, let's face it, Bill Clinton, Al Gore, they were the architects of NAFTA and things like that. Even though Republicans philosophically weren't good, that's when it really broke. What do you do about Chinese goods, though? We get killed by this.
We do, and there's got to be a happy medium. I can't say that if you shut China's goods off altogether, I don't know if that would do the American consumer that much good. I think it would hurt the American consumer. In the long run, Dom, you may be right. In 10 years, it might have an effect. But immediately, people don't react to what's going to happen in 10 years. They want to know what's going to happen next week to their consumer products. And I think it would have a negative impact to begin with. And I don't know if anybody has, either side really has the audacity to just completely cut China's economy out of the American economy. I don't know how productive that would be.
No, that's impossible at this point. But we got to see president after president push back on them. I see them as the enemy, and that's what we're dealing with here. Bill, what's next for the Teamsters now that we've been talking with you a little bit during this election cycle? What's the next big thing for the people you represent?
Well, we're moving. Our biggest enemy right now to be perfectly candid, is Amazon. They're running rampant over workforces across the country. They're hiding behind antiquated laws. They mistreat their workers badly, and it's been documented by both sides. And they've got a free rein in this country to keep growing, and pay people poverty wages and fail to bring them up to standards and work them without any work rules whatsoever. People, you can't even go in and organize an Amazon today because the people aren't there for more than 2 or 3 months. They're turning people over like crazy.
Well, I would argue, too, to your point, my resentment, they're not forced to follow the traffic laws. They park wherever they want, even if there's a space there. They block streets, and we know in Philadelphia what can happen then. And it seems to be they're coached to do that.
It seems like they don't have any coaching.
No, I mean, they're coached to say, you don't dare park and spend 30 seconds pulling in and out. You just get out of your vehicle wherever you feel like, deliver stuff, and tie up the world. To your point, that seems to be the brand, the attitude.
That is the Amazon business model. They put pressure on people, their employees, and they're told to do so many stops no matter what, and they have no recourse. And if they don't do the model, which is get it off no matter what cost and no matter what damage you do to traffic or anything else. So there's really no parameters around Amazon's whole business model.
Bill, the Teamsters now, what happens if the strike goes on? Do you see a point where it intersects and it's harming Teamsters and their interest?
Well, we're absolutely going to honor the picket lines. We work in the same communities. We represent many food delivery groups. But I'm confident that this is going to be a public type of argument. These companies and corporations that run these big shipping lines, they make a lot of money. They make a lot of money worldwide. They're not going to allow this to happen for an extended period of time. They're going to have to sit down with the union and negotiate in good faith and take care of some of these safety concerns. I don't think the money is the big issue that being portrayed in the press.
Let me ask one other question, Bill. You don't seem like this type of guy. Look, God bless anything. I'm not going to spend other people's money, what they do, but the head of this union makes about $900,000 a year. He had a yacht. So it's hard for me to hear the working class saga when a guy's just selling his yacht, the head of the longshoremen, and has a Bentley. I don't know that those things go over so easily.
Well, I don't have that information as you do, but I can assure you that I don't make that kind of money.
All right, Bill. Well, thank you again. Thanks for coming on. Where's the website for all things Teamsters here in the area? Where do they go, Bill?
TeamstersLocal107.com.
Thank you, Bill. Stay in the bullpen. There's going to be a long strike. Thank you, Bill Hamilton.
Okay, Tom. Thank you.
Tip of the hat to Henry here. Lightning round is next. Jump in with Dom on Talk Radio 1210.
You're driving along when you realize...
Oh, I've got to get over. Oh my gosh, sorry!
You didn't see him, did you? He was in your blind spot. You can also have a blind spot when it comes to your retirement. That's where Joe Yakovich of JML Financial Group comes in. He knows about a little blind spot called taxes. Social Security, your pension, your investments, all can be taxable. Look, you don't want to end up saying...
Will I be writing huge checks to the government when I retire?
Don't get blindsided by taxes. Make sure your retirement plan has a tax plan. With one call to JML Financial Group, 856-925-6674. That's 856-925-6674. Or at jmlfinancialgroup.com. Securities and investment advisory services offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC, member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company. JML Financial Group does not offer legal or tax advice. Please consult the appropriate professional regarding your individual circumstance.
Hey, did you hear? Wawa has classic hoagies for just $6.
Any classic hoagie?
Yeah, any classic hoagie.
What about the cheesesteak?
$6.
Meatball?
$6.
What about the Italian hoagie?
It's $6 for a classic. I shouldn't even have to ask, but what do you want for lunch?
Hoagies at Wawa, of course.
Right now, get any Wawa Classic Hoagie for $6. Gotta have a Wawa.
Revamp your living space with Emmons Remodeling.
Our seasoned designers and construction experts bring creativity and expertise to every project, ensuring stunning results for you and your family.
From new layouts to upgraded finishes, at Emmons Remodeling, we do it all.
So call us today at 856-885-6677 or visit us on the web at callemmons.com. From top to bottom,
To inside and out.
at Emmons, we have you covered.
Honey, I'm going to Wawa for dinner.
Okay, but Ben wants pizza.
Yup.
And Nick wants a burger and fries.
Right.
Oh, and the twins, they won't touch anything except for mac and cheese.
Exactly. Wawa has something for everyone for dinner, so I only have to make one stop to make everyone happy. So, what do you want?
Well, if you're going to Wawa, I have to have a hoagie.
From burgers to hoagies and everything in between, Wawa has dinner for everyone.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
I learned it from my adoptive mom.
Hold my hand. You hold my hand. Learn about adopting a teen from foster care at adoptuskids.org. You can't imagine the reward. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Space may be the final frontier, but it's also what a lot of us lack in our basement or garage. By switching to a Navien tankless water heater, not only will you have all the hot water you need whenever you need it, but you'll gain storage area as well. Maybe a place to display your space collectibles. Highly logical. Learn about Navien's series of high-efficiency tankless water heaters and how they don't just save space, but save dollars on your utility bills too. For more, go to tanklessmadesimple.com.
Following is a paid commercial message.
Bob Casey supported radical sanctuary city policies, and Casey said,
I want to be held accountable if something doesn't work out well.
Casey's sanctuary city policies haven't worked out well. They released dangerous illegal immigrants onto our streets. In fact, Casey's sanctuary city policies released one illegal immigrant felon in Philadelphia who then raped a 5-year-old Pennsylvania girl. Casey made us all less safe. Casey not only supports these crazy policies that put convicted felons back on our streets, he'd make things even worse. Casey voted to give illegals with violent criminal records amnesty. Casey supported amnesty even for illegals convicted of domestic violence and child abuse. Rewarding illegals convicted of domestic violence and child abuse? It's insane.
I want to be held accountable.
It's time to hold Casey accountable. It's time for a change. It's time to fire Bob Casey. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. SenateLeadershipFund.org.
Window Nation presents the 1210 WPHT Veteran Spotlight in partnership with the Travis Manion Foundation. Listen the first Wednesday of every month as Kale and Company shines a spotlight on a local veteran, highlighting their remarkable commitment to the community and their exceptional service in the military. Presented by Window Nation. At Window Nation, there's nothing more important than giving back to the communities we serve. For all of your window and door needs, visit windownation.com. That's windownation.com.
Calling on Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
The time has come for the final test.
We usually call it the lightning round.
That's right, and this lightning round is sponsored by Cherry Hill Volvo, where they have ample inventory of brand new and beautiful pre-owned Volvos. Enjoy the luxury experience you deserve. They always go the extra mile for their customers because relationships matter at Cherry Hill Volvo. All right, Dan just handed me Talk Radio Gold. I'll just say this. I'm not sure of the analytics here. Henry must have been involved. The most encountered phone numbers we have from 9/1/2000 and 10/2/2024.
Yeah, so what I put there, Dom, is I got you
Yes.
2 sets of data, and I'm not going to tell you much, but that
Right.
first set of data is from when we switched to the new phone system, we've been keeping track.
Right.
So I put 2000 in there, but it's only been about 6 or 7 years. It's not all the way back to 2000. I just needed a date there
Oh,
to
okay.
specify.
Well, yeah, 1/1/2021 is when I started here.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you have the 21 one is just I wanted to get a number of since the pandemic because I think the world's kind of changed since the pandemic. What we have standing there of who's called the most. So at some point tomorrow, I'd love to delve into this list with you.
Oh, yeah.
So we have 2 lists. We have one of since we started keeping track of the phone system, who's called in the most, and we also have since the pandemic, who's been the caller the most.
Okay. And there's one here. Well, we're not going to say anything more. This is Talk Radio Gold tomorrow. Let's go to Richard in Summerdale. Hey, Richard, what's your answer today?
Well, I think classical music, in particular opera.
So you think that's an acquired taste? You can acquire it, you're saying?
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Richard.
I like Richard's answer. I think jazz is the better answer, though.
Yes, I think jazz could go down potentially, but not classical music. Although this man is proof of the finer things in life. I don't think there's any caller, Dan, and you know I know talk radio. In my experience over 37 years and across the country, I defy you to find another Joe of Exton. Hey, Joe, good afternoon.
Yes. Hello, Dom. Good afternoon. Ever since I was honored with the title of in-house guru, I've embarked upon a course of pretentiousness by dressing in a dark blue suit, white dress shirt, ascot, drooping pipe, and the crowning point of my pretentiousness involves the acquired taste for caviar using chopsticks.
Well put together. Thank you, Joe.
Before you let him go, I just want to reflect because he told us he was going to get fancy one time. Because we were talking about how he has a corncob pipe, and he told us this one time.
Yeah, corncob pipe. I'm more sophisticated, a drooping pipe.
See, and now he's got that drooping pipe.
Oh, my goodness. On brand. By the way, the wedding, most recent wedding we were at, they had caviar. I couldn't even go near.
Oh, come on. You got to try. If it's free, sit in there. You're not going to try it?
To go. The other foods that were around it on that one table, I would not touch them. They were infected.
Oh, my God.
Just by the idea of the
caviar.
caviar.
That's such a drama queen
Although
moment.
I have had octopus at a station
good.
event.
Yeah.
Yes, I was fine with that. Yeah, the caviar, though.
Are you an oyster
Good
guy?
caviar is very good.
No oysters.
No
either.
oysters?
No. It's all mythical.
Yeah.
Let's not go there. All right.
No, it's not. It's a 100% scientific fact. It works every time.
All right. Let's go to Bill in Bucks County. Dan, I think his name is on here. That might be tomorrow's discussion. Hey, Bill, good afternoon. What's an acquired taste?
I don't know how to act like Joe Alexis. My acquired taste is Scotch whiskey.
All right. That's another thing I'm not acquiring. And bourbon, even worse. When I had to drink that with Rand Paul.
You didn't like it?
It was almost like I was going to spit it up there. And when we're doing the event with him,
I'm with you there, Dom.
It looked like paint thinner. That's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah, but you don't want the thing of, I never really liked bourbon, but then Rand Paul gave me some, and I started to like it. It's a nice story there.
The bourbon trail, you're going to one place, and you're going to be drunk. The wine trail, you might be able to, go to 3 or 4 places, I'm thinking. Yeah. All right. Let's go to Bruce in the Northeast, Talk Radio 1210. Hey, Bruce, what's yours?
Hey, Dom, speaking of Joe from Exton.
Joe of Exton has a new title, in-house guru.
That's right. Joe of Exton himself is an acquired taste, and his unique responses on the radio.
Oh, God, that is a great answer. All right, guys, we got about a minute here to put this together. Henry, give me a 1 or 2 you really like.
Yeah,
today.
I mean, Chris and Malvern kicked off the day perfectly with chopsticks. And then I really love that last answer there with Bruce in the Northeast saying
I
Joe
like
of
that
Exton.
one, too. I like the chopsticks, too. So, Dan, you may have to
Man,
decide.
my top 3 were jazz, chopsticks, and Joe and Exton. Your name's a show, Dom. You got to choose.
Yeah, we could award Joe it every day. You mean Bruce's call?
Bruce.
Okay.
Sorry, Bruce's call of Joe of Exton.
Let's go with that.
All right, Bruce goes in the hat.
Bruce is in the hat. The chopsticks and jazz were really insightful, but Joe of Exton, that's what people don't understand about talk radio. A lot of political talk, all that stuff, but it's a clubhouse. He's not an actor. He is a real guy. We've met him.
Keep on rocking, because you only rock once.
Oh, God. All right, Rich Cioli is next for 4 big hours.
Where do all my hippies meet?
Tomorrow, who are the most encountered phone numbers?
Where the dancing is elite. South Street. South Street.
Joe of Exton. Rich Cioli next. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.